Hello, hello. You know what we do here. I'm back. An evening stream. We'll see how it goes, where it goes, how long it goes. I've just been doing open panels lately because they seem to be working and it seems to be what the community wants. So I'll stick with those unless I have a topic I'm just really burning to talk about. So let's take a look at the internet. Wow, Colombia president resigns. And I saw something about the Japanese prime minister is going to step down. We were talking earlier today about all these, like the increase in immigration because of these wars and cartels and stuff. It does seem like things are, a lot of things are moving at once. That's really all I see. All right, let's check the panel verse. Oh, TML. TML is streaming. He's doing that deep ecology. I watched some of it. Let me give you that link in case you want to go over there instead over here. I'll do that for him. And you could watch it after too. It's Machine and Pill Eater and Hank. Uh, Oracle's on. I can't tell if he's streaming or restreaming. At iFi, talking about homeschooling. That's really it. I guess there's less going on in the panelverse right now than I thought maybe. So, that's why I'm here. Just keep open the space. We had some good chats today. I enjoyed I enjoyed the conversations and the crew that was up here. Oh, let's see. Did I have anything? I think I had. Did I have some kind of AI something going? Oh, just the thing on good faith, bad faith. But I can talk about anything you want with the AI. Um, I don't know where I'm at really, intellectually, with topics or interest or rabbit holes. I don't seem to be. I was working on the Jesus, the search for Jesus, but that's not really. I think that got stalled. And I have kept invoking him for the peace, like for group peace or community peace. I don't know if how many people want Jesus around here. If he's the Prince of Peace, because the content, the need for content. But I've made efforts here and there to bring some Jesus energy into things. Mixed results. So that's all I got, really. Unless somebody has questions, topics. If I think of anything, I'll start a dialogue with the AI. Let's look at Twitter. You know what? I haven't checked in with the Satanists in a while. Let's see what they're up to. Come on, work, Twitter. Um, okay, Candace Owens, who I don't really follow, is being kind of weird. She made some video accusing Kabbalist Jews of Strange conspiracy related things. I don't want to play it though. I don't like to give her airtime. What? Okay, hang on. We may have some controversy here. Bad time to be a teen goth as school tries to ban all black outfits. The color is linked to poor mental health, depression, and criminality, according to the Texan Schools Campus Improvement Committee. Wow. These people have nothing to do but go around and worry about how colors are affecting people now, as if words were. They are going to social engineer every atom of the environment if you let them into their image. Okay, let's get a peek at the article. Look. Bad time to be a teen goth. The colors linked to poor mental health, depression, and criminality. I find it so funny that all of these things are linked by a color, black. You could be depressed, you could have mental health issues, or you could be a criminal. Um, that's now what like black is being attempted to be coded as. Black is modest and arrogant at the same time. Black is lazy and easy, but mysterious. But above all, black says this: I don't bother you, you don't bother me. But it seems like the governing board at one Texas school are familiar with this statement. Wow. Okay, let me delve more into this. Hang on, where'd it go? Oh. Oh no, 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 no. Not they're very fortunate I'm not a student at H.E. Charles Middle School in El Paso. There's not enough going on in El Paso that this is what's on like I could see something like this in Seattle or Portland or Minnesota, but El Paso? The color was okay. Parents of kids last week received a letter outlining the ban, which linked wearing black from head to toe. So it has to be from head to toe. I guess a black t-shirt, black jeans, and black shoes or boots like I used to wear. That was my daily outfit, pretty much the only thing that was in my closet. Oh, I would have been screwed with these Karens. And recommend they discourage their children from heading off to school in completely black looks. So, are they saying it's a ban, or they're just writing a letter to parents saying we strongly encourage you to discourage your kids from dressing in all black because we've decided that it's linked to poor mental health, depression, and criminality. It says the color was also linked to criminality in the letter with the campus improvement team. What is that? We didn't have one of those. How bad are your campuses that you need a whole improvement team now? Or how bad have you convinced people your campuses are? Well, also advising against hoodies and sweatshirts with large pockets, which could be used to conceal items. Does school ever change? Like, I was in fourth grade when Rock and Roll High School came out with the Ramones. And then in like 84, you had Footloose with the people trying to keep the kids from dancing. I talked about the Tipper Gore and the PMRC committee, and that was Al Gore was Clinton's vice president, and his wife was the one doing all this. Um, are Karens? How do you coexist in a society with these Karens that are so bothered by what everybody else does with their freedom? They're like the agent of, I guess they're the satanic element, the adversary in my world, and I guess I'm their adversary because I don't think any of their rules are important or their emotions at all. The letter has sparked backlash from the kids, and their parents are like, "Good, good. This slightly restores or reinforces the hope and optimism that I have in America." with many sharing it on social media and telling the school rather than stopping its students. It should be focusing on stuff that makes the kids depressed in the first place, like bullying, safety measures, and boring, uninspiring lessons. Ooh, if our kids are depressed at your school, well, you're the teachers. It's your content. Wow. At a time when teens are experimenting with their personal style and using it to express who they are, as well as find their tribes, that's even in the Erickson stages, stopping them from doing so stifles both burgeoning social skills and creativity. I want these parents on my show. Y'all are my new heroes. Black is not sad. Bright colors are what depresses me. They're so empty. Black is poetic, says one of the students, which as a lifelong fanatic of black clothes I can attest to. And then the tweet itself says, oh, there's no comments on it. Never mind. Hey, Philip. Oh, let's see. Honestly, Tonic, I don't remember. I think you were like trying to bring up some mic drama. I tend to time that out on here. But if you have valid points to make that and they're and I can see that they're valid and relevant to something, I won't time you out. Or if you even want to come on and make them. But I'll tell you right now, if they're related to you know who, not interested. Daniel, hello. Well, Philip, as one of these expressive students, I'm going to tell you how I went to college. And this was at like a little, it was a university. It was a state university. It was the university level. But it functioned more like a community college. It was an agricultural college. Mostly it was kind of like a technical school really. It was for people to get jobs in agriculture or at the plants or the local economy, very industrial jobs. So the academics part of the department was much smaller than probably at other colleges. And I ended up in the electronics department, which is the engineering building. I think there was one other female in the entire building with me. All the professors were from Oklahoma. They were a bunch of cowboy, good old boy personality types. The students were blue collar, working class, the trades and industries. Um, I'm in class with my black gothic t-shirts from all my gothic bands, my black jeans, my purple spiked mohawk, my dog collar, my little bondage stuff. Usually had some philosophy book with me I was reading in class instead of paying attention to the teacher. It wasn't dangerous. It was isolating. It wasn't a threat. Nobody was going to not learn because I was there or be depressed or turn to crime. Least of all me. Besides, I'm going to tell you a secret as somebody who taught and as somebody who watches people and tries to learn. Let people express themselves. Don't you want to know about them? They're giving you data. They're giving you information. I don't want to stifle that. I want to know what's in people's heads, in their hearts. And there's the argument for like classroom order and stuff. And I've done classroom management. I was very good at it actually. And if you need kids to all wear a certain uniform to manage your classroom, you're just not very good at classroom management. Because there's other ways to get kids engaged in learning without worried about what color outfit they have on that day. To me, that's an indication of a school where probably not much education is happening. Oh, let's see. I was um, looking at Satan tweets. That was one of the tweets from the Satanists, by the way. Nope, not really anything exciting there. Hmm. Wasn't Trump doing something today? Did he do a rally or a speech? I thought I saw somebody streaming a Trump event. They might have just been watching some old. Trump delivers remarks on the economy in Asheville, North Carolina. Did I miss anything? Did anybody watch it? Let's see. Well, no, I think they're there for learning and they're there to develop socially. And it's also the stage of life where you develop your personal identity as well. I don't know that we should be compartmentalizing expression like this. If expression is a value, it should be a constant value, like free speech. So if someone's going to express, I don't think it should be limited to you can express at these times. Like that's too regimented a form of expression for an American sensibility, to me. But schools, I guess, always were places that the limits of American freedom were put to the test, and workplaces too now. Well, are you talking about the protest? Because that's different. I'm just talking about personal expression, like style, individual it's expression of one's identity or individuality. If you're talking about political expression, um, I think that has a place as well, especially on a college, because that's where kids learn about our values and our how society works, and so if protest is a part of our society, it's a right that we have, it's part of our free speech. I'd almost rather kids start getting a taste of it in college so they can learn what it's about in like an academic setting. So maybe they'll be more educated about it as they go out in the real world and get involved in protests. But then I watched the Evergreen documentary too, and it didn't go that way at all. So what you're talking about here, yeah, I wouldn't allow this at my school or my classroom anyway. This disruption, this kind of disruption. But that's not the same thing to me as what color outfit you wear to school, or if you wear a piercing or a tattoo or something like that. Um, we have somebody in the back trying to connect, so we'll see if we may have we may get a panelist. Yeah, but that's not illegal. There's that's just social. That's the game, man. That's the social game. All right, I'm gonna bring on. You'll recognize her from some other channels, but I think she's new to me. We will welcome Lawyer Chick to the
Hi,
stage.
how
Hi,
are
welcome.
you? Thank you. I love your show.
Oh, I see you on Barney's.
Yeah, and he actually, I mean, I found you through him for sure, but I probably look like shit. I've been working, but I love your topic. I think you're like such a cool YouTube psychiatrist, psychologist.
Oh my God, I'm not even any of that. I have no
You are.
clinical
You're
training
really,
whatsoever.
really.
Mm-mm. I'm a peer
You don't have a
counselor.
background in.
I
Oh,
have my
sorry.
personal experience, like my own lived experience with mental health issues that I draw on, and then I have like my own personal amateur interest in psychology that I've studied. Like autodidactically on my own. So I know the theory, but I can't draw on it professionally. I could draw on it for
Okay.
conversation and discussion, but
Well,
it's not something I could really use when I'm working with clients.
yeah. Oh, well, I can tell you this. I can see you. I've seen you talk to some, just talk through some really interesting conversations, like, and just talk down the manosphere and get them to like be in touch with their feelings. And it's beautiful to watch.
Are you serious? Well, talk to me about that because
Honestly.
I consider myself manosphere myself.
Well,
I
okay.
can't
I'll
believe
give
I'm
you,
talking people into that.
no, I'll get, no, but in a good way. I'll give you an example. So one time I was on Barney's show with Dennison and a bunch of other people, right? It was like a big panel. But the guys were really going off on like, let me think. It was maybe a month or two ago, but the guys were really going off on just like, oh, women can't do anything for me. Like, I just like Dennis was even like just look good and be like there was just no admittance of wanting or of having any reason to expect a woman to be like a partner or an equal, and that's it. Like women were kind of are for, I guess, paraphrasing really badly. But then people hop to your show, and you said to Dennison, like, well, what if you met like the right person? And he was, but you said it in a good way. You said it in a way that he was like, oh yeah, like if I met like a cool person who was like vibe with me, like yeah, sure, be fine. And I was just like, that was amazing because it was like got him to really, I guess admit that yes, my experience has been terrible with women, or I have no reason to believe I'm ever going to meet that person. But if I do, I will accept it. Right? It will be great. And I thought that was dope. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I remember that conversation, and it seemed like he was frustrated. His ideal was very high of the ideal woman, and he was not encountering it in reality much. And so the women he was encountering had a certain role that they fit into for him, but it wasn't the ultimate role that he envisioned for the ideal woman. And it's a lot of it sounded like frustration, but not complete despair. And so
Yeah.
if he does, I think he did say that if he did find the kind of woman that he was like, he didn't have the door completely closed. It was more about his optimism about being able to find that if it was out there. And so
Yeah.
he was like planning for the reality that he wasn't going to find it. So this is the role for women in that case. But on the off chance that it is out there and he does encounter, he is open to a different role for women or some women.
Yes. And you 1,000,000% brought that out because during this show with Barney, it was very much like, no way, it's never going to happen. Women can't do shit for me except give me a, you know, service. And
Make him a
it was
sandwich.
just, yeah, make me a sandwich. And it was just really cool. And because he was really quick to just be like, oh, yeah, okay. I mean, no, it was just nice. It was nice to see that there's still hope. But you just brought it
I mean,
right out.
I always try to find. That's what I wrote on is hope. That I always try to find the hope. I don't think anything is ever. That's I'm not a black pillar. I don't think anything is ever settled or determined. It's not over until it's over. There's always a path forward. There's always something you could do. There's always some way you could empower yourself. I never think I don't know. Despair is just not something. Before I fall into despair, I'm gonna run through every other scenario and talk myself into every other outcome before I settle on that one.
Yeah,
There's
that makes
always
sense.
something you can do. There's always
This
hope.
is true. Yeah, there is. And yeah, I like that. It's positive. Hold on. I'm going to fix my phone. So, okay, I want to talk about what you're talking about. I'm really interested in this. Are you talking about the ban on black clothing in school?
Yeah, I just found out about it. This one school in Texas, but still, let me or one of my kids be at that school.
Oh my God, absolutely. Like, I am definitely. Yeah, I agree with you. I work in law, but I actually work with a lot of kids. I work in education, and I have for a long time. And I'm also a fan of black clothing, and I just I thought it was crazy, and I don't think it's going to. I think it'll probably face litigation. Um, it's a free speech issue, really, legally. Like uniforms have been beat on a free speech issue. Sometimes they're overcome on a school safety issue. Like a school district might say, we need uniforms to keep kids safe,
Hmm.
um, for whatever reason. I actually wrote a paper on the constitutional violations inherent in school dress codes and gang policies, and kind of showing that and school gang dress codes definitely can fall under a safety issue. Um, but they also can be argued to be unconstitutional on a free speech issue. Like kids should be able to wear what they want. But with what you're talking about, I mean, it's like really does stop like a freedom of expression. And I don't know that is it that big of a problem. It really goes after, I guess, the goth kids.
That's what
But
it didn't
I
seem
don't
like
know.
a ban itself. It seemed like they were trying to encourage parents to stop their kids. But the reasons they were using, like that's what I was interested in. Who determined it's tied to mental health? Who determined it's tied to where is your source for this determination that you're basing this proposed ban on? That's what I didn't get from the letter.
It's
It's
so
like
weird.
they said they've determined it, but they didn't go into detail about that part of it. So you just have to kind of take them at their word and then accept what they're saying about the color black.
So are there other
Well,
policies
then
that
they
really
smuggled in the big pockets and loose hoodies and loose. So it's not just about the color black. It's about we're scared of kids that dress in certain ways because they could be hiding stuff or scary or dangerous. I remember when I was teaching, this came with the baggy pants. They wear them like halfway down, and the boxers and the big baggy jeans and stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
So some of it I think is more than just about black. I think they're nervous about certain cultures or subcultures that
Yeah.
go to that
Well,
school.
that definitely. And like when I was in California, they passed a dress code that was targeted, um, like the styles that the kids in the community were wearing. It was a very like Chicano, Latino community, definitely a gang impacted community. But they tried to ban Dickies, white t-shirts. Like they tried to ban like the uniform of like Chicano kids. You know what I mean? In this neighborhood, particularly, is Northern California. Um, I don't think that ever that dress code never came to be, but they definitely proposed it. And just the fact that they tried to ban a name brand pant really I found interesting, I guess, and very discriminatory because there's only it was like obvious a certain type of a certain kid was wearing Dickies, right? And yeah, King Philip, school uniforms would eliminate this topic. Yeah, I mean, I actually am I don't think school uniforms are a bad thing. At
I would.
all. I yeah, and most students who have school uniforms implemented after a while say that they do like it. It's easier to dress in the morning. They don't have they don't have like as much to think about. But believe it or not, in a friend of mine was in Nashville. She was the city attorney and she was representing the school board when they tried to implement school uniforms. And it was the parents who came out and really raised hell because they argued that they spend so much on their kids' clothes and they want their kids to be able to
Oh,
wear the clothes that they provide for them. Yeah.
that's a good
And
argument. Good for them.
yeah. Hmm.
I,
And
it
so it was defeated. They did not get the uniforms.
it restricts freedom. There's no argument for that trumps that one con for me. I don't
Yeah,
trust people that ask me to constrain my expression to that extreme degree. It breaks trust with
I
people that
know.
ask that of me.
But also, it's like kids are finding themselves through their clothes, through their fashion. We used to make clothes. I mean, I'm a child of the 70s and 80s. So we used to make our clothes, tie dye our clothes,
Yeah,
tan
I
our
remember
jeans.
tie dye. I had a whole tie dye wardrobe. I remember tie
Yeah.
dye.
We'd bleach our jeans. We would do all kinds of stuff to our own clothes. And it was a lot of fun. And we would match each other at school. You know, we would like dress it like we would have twins day with our friends. And yeah, it would just have been terrible if we had been forced to wear uniforms. It would not have worked for us. Um, I don't know. Some school districts will say it's an equalizer. Uh, but again, these parents in Nashville that were coming and arguing that they wanted their kids to wear clothes. I mean, it wasn't like a super affluent school district where,
This
it
was
was like this
public, like this was the whole district,
public
so it would have
school,
affected all the schools.
pub, yeah, public
Because
school in
private kids
Nashville.
already wear uniforms, pretty much.
They do usually, and those kids like when they can wear like regular clothes day, it's a big deal in a private school. But in a private school, I would argue you might have even more issues with like showing off expensive things and more issues of like kids really like flossing their expensive things because You know, I mean, God, some people like are just some things cost a lot, and kids wear sneakers, and you know they could have particular belts or purse. I don't know,
Yeah,
wearing a
there's less
purse.
opportunity to express, so you have to signal your
Yeah.
status in those smaller ways.
Yeah. So, you know, I could see in a wealthy school district or, you know, even in a private school where it being more of an almost more of an issue. But in a regular public school, you have so many different, you know, socioeconomic statuses and kids and styles and backgrounds.
But that never
But
stopped any of us. Or any of the, even
I,
when I was teaching, it never stopped any of the kids I was from learning. It seems like it seems like an issue, non-issue.
mm-hmm. Yeah. What
Whoa,
about
we
safety?
like they're having meetings. They're taking work time and having meetings to discuss the color black and if it's associated with mental health or criminality. Like that is a non-problem. That's trying to problematize something that the rest of the world is not going to have a problem with.
And
It's
it
like
also is saying
neurosis
that,
or something.
yeah. Do you also think it's saying that they think, which is so incorrect, but they think that only depressed kids only wear black? Because I think there's like lots of really depressed kids who aren't just wearing black; they're just depressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know that all black
Like
is
kids not
indicative
in
of a
black
person
are not
depressed.
depressed. Like,
Right, right.
yeah.
Like we'll solve this depression problem. We'll solve the suicide
Yeah,
epidemic.
you're right. It is. It's making it's stereotyping depression, and it's making actual depression harder to identify. If you're going to associate it with black, then that's what people are going to look for.
That's true. I remember when the Columbine shooting happened. I guess it was 98 or 99, and schools were really going after kids in trench coats.
Hmm.
It became like a whole thing. I was new in my career in those days, but uh, oh my god! And then kids were wearing trench coats to show, because kids will, right? They'll be defiant. They show it's counterculture, right, to them. So maybe they didn't associate it with like being a you know a school, somebody that's going to do something like that. I don't know what we can say on YouTube, but you know, something like what they did at Columbine to the school. But I think kids just recognized it as like they were outcasts. I'm an outcast. I'm gonna, you know, be in solidarity. I'm 13. This is what that looks like. So yeah, trench coats are an issue. I mean, it's just whatever the cause du jour is. But I'm surprised at the black clothing. I just think that's wild. I don't know. So
Well,
I'm glad you
the
brought it
parent,
up.
everyone, the whole community seemed to have had a very sensible reaction, the same one we're having.
Okay, yeah, I would figure it's so strange. But you know, school boards. Let me see if I can find. Hold on, I'm going to type. Mark Twain had like the best quote about school boards and people who are on school boards. Let's see if I can find it. If I'm right about that. Okay. Yeah, look, Mark Twain's school board quote. Okay. Okay, he says, in the first place, God made idiots. This was for practice. Then he made school boards, and he wrote that in 1897. Mark Twain's withering contempt for a body elected to oversee the person hired to run schools remains as fresh today as in 1897 when the writer penned those words. Isn't that funny?
Is that
He
because
really
schools are like the gatekeeping of the future? Like society's going to look like whatever the schools are doing now. That's what
yeah,
we
they
can
are.
expect to come
Yeah,
down the
they're
future.
little. Yeah, he also said, "I never let schooling interfere with my education."
Yes, that. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Okay, well, I have to hop off because I haven't even eaten dinner yet. But I heard your topic, and I wanted to
I'm glad you did.
chime in.
Yes. I'm
Yeah,
glad we got to
and
chat too.
yes, I know. I also tell you I'm a fan. You're like the best. You are a YouTube. You are the YouTube psychologist, as far as
Oh
I'm
my
concerned.
God. The little.
YouTube strength. Well done. But
I
enjoy your
appreciate it.
evening. Yeah, and anytime. Good topic. We'll
You
talk to
too.
you. See you around.
You too. Stop by anytime.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. All right. Cool. Another see, Gen X, we were a cool generation, guys. We had Gen X had like we probably had the most freedom of any generations because the 50s were kind of a little bit repressive, and then the 60s broke all that up, and we got the 70s and 80s and 90s. We got all. I can't imagine. I don't know how much more freedom we could have had. We did everything we possibly wanted to do, and then I watched those freedoms as an adult gradually start to reverse about safety, speech, all that stuff. And speaking of uniforms, the school I went to, that gifted school, we could wear whatever we wanted, and that was one of the places where I, each year I could express myself in ways that I could count on the other kids to get and understand because they were also gifted, and so I was like with my peer group, and it was an opportunity to like whatever fashion does for you, your development, your social communication, etc. It was a chance to do that with a very kind of specialized peer group. And then at some point, years later, they went to a uniform system and they had to wear, they had t shirts. I think they could wear like whatever pants they wanted, but they had to all wear the same t shirt. That was the uniform. On an emotional level, like on a visceral level, I reacted against it. Was like vomit. How could they do this? What are they doing? This goes against every single value that brought me to that school in the first place and that I benefited from at that school. And I I could not. I'm still not sold on the uniform thing, but I've since talked to people in the know, and a, a lot of it rose from. Some of it was the university itself was like having needs that they needed. They needed a way to keep track of all the kids that showed up on the campus because you had different camps. You had football camp, band camp, um, the what do you call it? Like the twirly, the baton camp people. So you always had different groups of kids running around this campus, and the university would like some way to know what kid, who are these kids when they see them in the cafeteria, the library. But the main reason, as I understand it, is safety. It's just a way of accounting for them, a way of there's more rules than we had too. And I talked with my friend that works there, and he took me on a trip down memory lane and all the stuff we used to do and get away with, and it's kind of amazing. Like when he makes the case that way, it's like, oh wow, yeah, we really like we barely got out alive with our freedoms. Um, Even though it's my norm, it was a risky norm. There was a risk that came with it. And do we want to subject all of our future precious generations to the same level of risk that was given to us? Um, I say yes, but I could see the argument for. So I think that's what happened. I think our generation looked back at all the stuff, all the freedoms we had, and all the risk and dangers that came with it, and all the dangers we skirted in our generation, and I think they wanted to give their kids a little more security from that. Maybe that's my theory. We'll see what Philip has to say.
Mic check.
Sounded good.
How you doing, brother?
Um, Pretty good. I'm looking for your channel. Oh, there you are. Okay, pretty
I
good.
am real.
You
I
so
am
you
real.
have some thoughts on this? It sounds like you want those kids
Well,
to behave and conform and do what they're told.
yeah. I think there's negatives to it. I think there's like for example, from my experience, I didn't. My family didn't afford the nice clothes, so it
Hmm.
stood out. We were poor. In a uniform, you don't see that, from my experience. You
But
know what I mean?
kids would have still known you were poor. Like even with
How
the uniform, they would have known who the poor kids were, I think.
you think so?
Yeah, I think kids have a way of knowing that. But you're saying it would have been less visible, like it would have stood
Yes.
out less.
Yeah.
So there's
So
less of
that's
a visual reminder of it.
yeah. Everybody's wearing the same thing. There's no trend to set.
I just think back to my own days, and I, I, I I wonder how much clothes had anything to do with it. If they played a role at all, I think it was very minimal. So the price you pay from lack of self-expression to me is not enough to compensate whatever perceived danger that clothes are having on how kids are perceived socially. Because with me, it was more my personality, being a nerd, being a new kid, being an outside than any. I don't think any outfit would have helped overcome the negatives from that. So clothes might have been like a little tiny factor that kids use maybe on the first week of school to kind of get their bearings. But I think the factors that they actually judge by, except maybe if you're the rich kids, like everybody wanted to know who had the name brand jeans and shirts and stuff. So those kids stood out and they used their clothes for very specific signaling. But I think the rest of us, it went more by like personality and interest than what status you were perceived at. But then I also went to schools where there wasn't a big status divide to begin with. Most of the kids were more or less middle class.
Mm, mm. And
Did
then
you
some of
grow up did your school have uniforms or a lot of regimentation?
no, we didn't have that. We didn't have the uniforms, and we did have the two big classes of like coastal old neighborhood that was just hippies, old California. The stuff old hippie Californians, and then there's the new tech that came in, tech and doctors and lawyers and stuff like that. So it was that kind of mix.
Oh.
Yeah, and they all went to the brand new school, to the brand new neighborhood that was increasing the area's overall real estate prices up. Like it went from like $100,000 homes to almost 500 $600,000 homes, and this was in 1998.
And this was the school you went to?
Hmm.
What how big was it?
It was small because it was new. It was
Oh, okay.
we graduated, I think it was 1,200 students. Well, to me, it's small for a California school.
Yeah, that's a little bigger than the one I went to. So yeah, that's kind of on the small side. I think it's a decent size actually, but it wasn't one of those giant schools where nobody knows who anybody is.
So, well, for example, my high school was double that. It was 3,000 kids. So
3,000 kids, like
I could be, yeah,
freshman
yeah,
through senior,
I could be, I could be, wrong, but that's what I remember.
or even 1,000 kids is a lot. My high school graduated 88 kids,
What?
or would have been. I would have been the 88th. So they graduated 87 kids. Um, so like I guess we had like four or five
Well,
hundred maybe in the
if
school.
now that I think about the number, if we have, four, freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior, in each class is 800, that could easily come up to, that's what I mean. The numbers start growing fast as you start
That's a
thinking about it.
lot
It's
of
like, yeah,
kids.
my school was that big.
Wow.
Yeah, because the
So you
uh
almost had to navigate by cliques and clothing and 'cause you couldn't get to know every single person at that school. You had to have
oh, it
some
was very
shortcut.
clicky. Yeah, you knew the local surfers, the football team, the cheerleaders. Like there's 13, 14 the cliques that I knew about that were just out in the open. There was probably many more than that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that was just obvious on the lunch area. It was
That's
so
all the stuff I
divided.
ignored.
Yeah. So
I had my face in a book the whole time at lunch and bypassed all of that. So I missed out on an entire education that everybody else got from having to go through all that high school.
The only
Sorting, lunch
education.
table, which clique, which group. I was a loner with my face in a book.
What do you mean you missed out on the
I,
education,
I
like
didn't. I,
personal
I didn't pay
education,
attention to any of that. The
but the
groups, the
social?
cliques. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
didn't know. I couldn't tell you who was in what group, what the groups were, how the dynamics of them. I didn't. I didn't. I didn't look at a single person. I showed up at school. I probably walked into the school with a book. And then I went to my class and the bell rang and I learned. And then I probably walked to lunch with the book. And then I ate and I took the book outside and I sat on the bench and I read the book until the bell rang. So I was never not in a book.
See, I wish I had a book. I was just looking up and just observing.
Just look up.
Yeah, I just observed. Just observer. So in Hank's chart, I'd be a analyst.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think in high school.
Hmm.
But it really applied to negotiation style. So that's what threw me is it's when you're trying to get your needs met with another person, what's your approach?
On the panels.
Yeah, well, he was applying to or he was taking panelists and slotting them into these categories. So he was evaluating different content creators and what their negotiation style was.
Rock and roll.
What was
What's up?
yours? Did he do you?
No, no,
Uh,
I'm not really a guest anywhere. I just show up here. There's a lot less. I don't know. To me, there's I don't see the drama. There is drama. It does happen. It does happen, but it's not. I don't know. I see other panels focused on things I'm not a fan of, and I'm a fan of this channel. So thank you.
well, thank you. And I do try to keep it to a minimum and not
Yeah.
feed it and make it my entire content. Because there is a market for drama. So people that know how to farm it, there is a payout. That's not what I'm here to do.
Right now is nothing but drama on the internet. It is crazy. I can't find anything else but not drama. So I'm glad I'm here.
Oh,
Hopefully we don't get into things. I was about to start a uniform drama thingy uh, and
you form
convert you
beef.
over, send you Jeff's uniform for the show.
Chris and I, in fact, I think we tried it once or twice. We had the idea of actually dressing up to do the show, wearing shirts, ties, taking it seriously like we're professional podcasters, and seeing if it changed our psychology, like if it psychologically we approached the stream differently. But we were both ADHD, and we kept forgetting to do it. We might have tried it once or twice.
So I play video games and then sometimes I stream them on my channel and I just order a NASA astronaut outfit.
No, you didn't. From
Yeah, from
Amazon, like
Amazon. Yeah,
for a
from
real.
Amazon. Yeah, yeah, for cosplay because I'm gonna start a new game series called No Man's Sky, which is an AI generated space exploration game.
You're gonna play it in the astronaut suit.
It's just like an orange jumpsuit. You know what I mean?
Oh, oh, so now I pictured the helmet and everything,
No, that's
just the
too much. I
jumpsuit.
still have to be able to be odd. You know, I
Right.
still have to be a person. So, but yeah, no, it's fun. It's that's the kind of cool thing about the panelverse. People get to see you express yourself here. Where like on a radio show, all you hear is the talk. You know what I mean? And I think you're actually, if I had to like people watch your show when they're doing other tasks, like you're good, you're great, Jeff. Like you could be a radio person.
I believe that. They like for body doubling. You mean they use it?
Yes,
They have it on. I love that. I love
I
that people have it on their background while it's helping them do other things.
that's the first time I heard that term was this show was the body doubling. So that was interesting.
Well, I guess if there's one thing I can do is be a body.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about doing that too. You know, just when I go live, it's just be there. If someone needs a
I,
place to hang out, I'll be there. I don't really need the community. I already have one, so it's just if someone else needs one, I'll be there.
yeah, I'll go hang out with you if you do it. Let me know.
Cool. I might be able to do the whole StreamYard things and do the the game behind me. It's more important that we talk and I just do the game behind me. It's just a exploration game.
Yeah, you
So I
do.
have
You
this monitor
you
behind me.
you bring a very chill vibe. You're good at setting a very chill,
Thank you.
conversational, like low key atmosphere.
It took practice, brother.
Really?
Observation
This
and
is
practice.
all. This is
I
all
was a
production.
feral. I was a feral person years ago, not too long ago, actually. So feral.
Ok-
In my word, feral is one you don't believe in. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. So you don't have a following. You're just out there doing your own thing. You make your own decisions. You choose your own path.
mhm.
And my own path was leading me to self destruction and not making friends.
So you weren't making good decisions at all.
Yes, by myself, I wasn't. Even though I thought I was smart and I was smarter than everybody else.
Hmm.
Apparently, I was pushing everybody away. So I I found mentors on YouTube,
Like personal mentors, or just watching their content.
watching their content. That's the best I could do. It's almost like being there if you could really listen to what they're saying, correct?
Uh-huh.
Like if a blind person was in the room with you, they don't have to see you to understand what they say. And I
Yeah.
get that. So it's as long as you can really listen to somebody, and if you have to, listen to it a couple times.
Which ones helped you the most? That's what it took. Like that did the trick.
Well,
Was just watching different mentors.
well, help. Well, surrendering,
To
surrendering
who?
helped
To
me.
what?
For one, I had to surrender to my ego that these people actually did it better than I did. They have proof. They have, they have the trophies. They have
So
the
they
things I want.
had the
They have the
the
things I
the
want,
the like
right?
the less feral. They were making good decisions. They had the decision making wisdom that you wanted, and so
They
you were
had the
watching them
wisdom.
to see what they were doing.
Yes, yes, the wisdom, the objects, uh, and the life. They had the life I wanted. And from all of that, I come to a conclusion. I did science, right? On people, unfortunately, but I did it.
You could do you could do science on people. It's just a way of
I used
processing
people,
information,
brother.
really.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I did, and it's turning out to be it's working. That's where I can't complain. It's working.
So when was the turnaround? Was how long has it you been on this new trajectory?
2 years ago,
Okay.
2 years ago, and every day is a start, a fresh start. I could choose not to do this.
You could go back to feral or
Hmm.
do something
Hmm.
else. So
Yeah,
every day you consciously
in a s-
maintain.
in a heartbeat, I'm ready to snap.
Do you have a therapist or anybody you talk to in addition to
No,
this?
no,
It's just
uh,
all self-directed.
yes. Good questions. Thank you, brother.
You seem, and they do say it. It's always the quiet ones. You seem like the last person in the panelverse that I would think was ready to snap.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the future because if I keep on doing this, I'll have the rewards I've been looking for.
Yeah,
So,
and I think you're gonna be an inspiration to others.
and that's why I used Philip and not my real name. It's a synonym for inspiration. I don't know how it is, but when I looked up inspiration and then synonym, that's one of the words. How strange. So, stage name.
Yeah, I think you I think you bring a lot. You bring a lot of positivity, and to hear that it's the result, like it's not just you being you, it's the result of actual work, like effort. It's an achievement. We're benefiting from an actual achievement that you
Thank you.
worked at and accomplished.
I hope so. I hope so.
Wow, I'm kind of humbled myself now.
It's interesting. People described it to me as humble pie. You have to take your slice, and then when people are saying their opinion that you don't like, just sit there with your slice of pie and eat it, and just enjoy it and be quiet.
Well, I don't know about the be quiet part, but I can tolerate other people's opinions. My problem is where I get defensive is when I feel like my sanity is under attack. I'm very protective of my mental health and my sanity, and when people are coming at reality on a fundamental level, or trying to manipulate my reality, that's where I get like that's where it really hits me hard, and I really get feral. But as if it's just sharing opinions, like that's what. In fact, I say that all the time when people give me their arguments. I say that's just an opinion. Oh well, that's just your opinion. Oh, that's what. So I take everything more or less as an opinion or a belief, unless they have further evidence for it. So hearing different opinions for me is not the issue. This person right here is the issue. No, I'm just kidding. Frank, are y'all wrapped up already?
Oh, is he
I
ready?
hope you're awake later for another one. Um, we were watching Survivor today, and there's a tribe, and there's a lot of alpha males on it, and they're all jockeying for leadership, and everybody wants to be the daddy of that tribe. And there's this one guy that knows he's a leader. He knows he's not a follower. And he's constantly like, let me lead this one thing. Give me one chance to lead. And everybody kept telling him no, they don't want to be led by him. He's weird. And at the tribal council, they told him, like Jeff Probst said to him, he said, dude, are you hearing what your tribe's telling you? They don't want you in a leadership role. They want you to be a follower. Are you able to step down from trying to lead and learn to follow? And he just sat there frozen. You could see him shaking. He started to cry. And he's like, he was so like, you could tell how hard it was for him to make the switch, like to step out of that power and to let somebody else lead him. It was, and then he started tearing up, and he said he would do it, but he ended up getting voted out. But so, I related to him. I'm like, I know what that dude's going through because this is what people are asking me to do, and I can't just do it unless there's a reason. Like I can be a follower if there's a reason for me to be a follower. If you're leading me somewhere in particular that I don't know how to go, or you have more, but just because the group wants me in that position and doesn't want me in a leadership position, they're resistant to my style of leadership. That's not enough for me to say, okay, I'll defer to your will and reduce my power and step into a follower role to make you happy. That's not enough for me.
I used to be that person. I used to
So
be
you
that person.
learned how to give up that, like, I know how to lead, I know better, I know the best way to do it. People should be following me and listening to me.
Well, okay. So when you just started describing Survivor in that great episode, which was that recently?
It was an older season, but we watched it today. We watched it recently.
What a great moment to capture. Someone going through that. I was just thinking, I was like, well, if I was on the Survivor Island, right? And if like they wanted me there, but I didn't understand the rules, I would go make my own camp and see who joined.
You get voted out.
That's what I mean. But I'm there for Survivor, right? So my game plan would be, and would probably fail, is try to make friends with everybody.
No,
So I'm
that's a good
useful.
check
So
because
I'm
it's
useful
ultimately
to everybody.
social survive. You try to
Yeah,
survive each
I,
other.
I'll try to create a utility for everybody.
You would be good actually. Your social game, I think, is you would
So,
win. You would win people over on an individual level and make deep
but I
personal connections.
I would lose on the people who don't connect that way, who vote to win, who are
Yeah,
willing to stab Caesar in the back.
yeah.
For what? I don't know what they gained. Right?
A
What
million
did this?
bucks.
Well, okay, well, in that scenario for stabbing Caesar in the back, what did those people gain?
Well, they thought they were gaining. They were just like here, where people have this fear that the elites are going to gain too much power. They were worried about Caesar amassing more power than they felt comfortable with. So they thought they were helping the republic by limiting Caesar. They talked each other into this narrative that if Caesar continued, he's going to get it. It wasn't based on actuality, it was based on what they thought might happen, their fears of what might happen if power continued to consolidate around Caesar. And so they took steps to act in advance. And that's what we see today with some of these people talking themselves into more of a threat to the system or democracy or whatever than there actually is. And they're rationalizing taking steps outside of our system to solve it. It's fear.
Oh, so did you hear about the news is being well, a news network is being held accountable for what was it? Reporting bad news and creating a bad narrative.
Here in the U.S.,
Yeah, Joe Rogan's going after news network for taking clips out of his show and saying that he endorsed Kamala Harris.
oh, because he said he's not voting for Trump.
Well, well, I don't know. Like I said, they cut all of his show out of context. So he was totally
So they're
against
taking
her.
clips and they're manipulating them to in a mess. Yeah, he's gonna win. He should win too.
Yeah,
They
$30
know better.
million. So good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah,
The first thing I do is I just check out the what is it, the Microsoft Edge, just like clips, headlines, and see what's up. And there's some good ones if you need topics. There's always good ones
yeah.
up
That's
there.
what I do. I pull up the front page and I look at the headlines. Lately, it's kind of been the same headlines, more or less. There's geopolitical events that are going to be happening for a while, and then we're election season, so there's election propaganda that's going to be happening for a while.
How many days are left? Are you doing the countdown? Do you know?
No, but let's look.
It's counting down fast, brother. Like I was at 97 the other day, or was it 97 or something like that?
82 days.
82 days.
5 hours,
Oh,
56 minutes, and 18 seconds.
oh,
17
this is
seconds.
intense. Do you think it's gonna be like the Hillary Trump election? Like if one person wins, one person there'll be people in the street like
No. I
melting.
almost feel like it's going to be anticlimactic. It's going to be like, oh, good. Okay, fine. All right. One of them got it. We don't care which one because we don't like either one. Now let's just make the best of it and try to go on about our life as normal.
Wow,
I,
I
I
don't
just
know.
don't think the enthusiasm's much there for either candidate other than the diehards. And, oh, I did have a tweet. I hope I saved it. I wanted to read
I think
about
one of
Kamala. Kamala has done nothing and said nothing. All the enthusiasm around her seems to derive from people projecting things onto her. They don't even have a presidential, like a platform on their campaign website yet. She's just image. She's just, I'm Kamala, vote for me. I'm going to save America from Trump. But nobody knows anything about her actual policies or positions. They haven't put out any substance.
so they weren't ready for this.
No,
They
so
really
people are seeing everyone just like Jesus. Everybody has their own version of Kamala, and she's becoming a mythological figure in their political narrative because there's no content yet to base it on. So everybody has their own fantasy of what they think Kamala is going to be to them.
you just call her Jesus?
Well, I said in much the same way as people do with Jesus. I did analogize her to Jesus
Is that
to
who I've been
to
praying to
make a
every
point.
day?
Well, there's Trump Jesus. We gotta have Kamala Jesus.
Oh, dude.
Jesus is very multidimensional and complex. There's a Jesus for everybody.
Oh, so there's a new song that's I guess breaking records right now. Some guy who just did his own thing, no record label, It's all about Jesus coming back and Revelation and whatnot. It's interesting, and the guy's super serious. He's like, he's super. He's making some good interviews right now. John Rich,
Wait, what's it called? Who is he? What's it called?
John Rich, elevation, something like that. I can't say it. I'm not
Revelation.
interested. Yeah, relevate. I can't. I'm not interested in it. It's like it's
He's
a good song.
like a cowboy guy.
Yep.
Yeah, all
Yep.
right. I'm
Yep.
gonna
It's a good
watch it after
song.
this. Cool, cool. Kamala does laugh like Joe Cool. Maybe she is black.
Or is Joe Cool black? Or
That's
is he
maybe there's something
Indian?
about Joe Cool. We don't know.
Yeah. What'd you eat today?
A pizza.
All right. All right. I saw, I think, at the end of your show or something like that, it was like late and you were like, oh, almost forgot to eat. And it's like, you got to remember to eat, dude.
I need to remember to eat tonight. In fact, Bex and Frank, are y'all available? Because if we
There you
do
go.
another episode, I usually if I have something on TV, that's usually a good way for me to remember to eat.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I had some queso birria tacos. Pretty good.
Queso who?
Queso birria. It's shredded beef that's been marinated in like a red sauce. And then they put in a taco that's been dipped in that red sauce, but like fried on the grill with cheese.
Oh,
Cilantro and onions. It's good. It's good. It's a good little meal. Got a lot of flavor.
did you make it yourself?
No, I buy it from the local uh, Alejandro's.
Oh,
I never cook. I'm going to learn how to cook soon, but it's gonna be real simple stuff: steaks, potatoes, fish.
do you grill?
I will be grilling. Yes, I'll be getting a grill. Yep, yep. Just throw it on the grill, right?
Yeah, just throw on the grill.
Yep, 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 yep. Grilled vegetables are tasty.
Oh, I know. I love barbecued asparagus. Some of my favorite things, and barbecued lettuce.
Whoa, you can't barbecue lettuce.
Yeah, you can. There's this restaurant in New Orleans that used to have barbecued lettuce. That is appetizer. They bring it out as being like half a head of that, the long lettuce, romaine maybe,
Yep.
and they had this oil they coat it with, and they laid it on the grill for a little bit, and they have this little charred, seared flavor to the tops of it, and I don't know how they seasoned it or what they did with, but you cut into this lettuce, and you put it in your mouth, and it was the most amazing flavor ever. It was good. Oh my god, we went there like every other day to get some of that grilled lettuce,
See,
barbecue
I have
lettuce.
I'm, I'm blind. Yeah,
It's because you look like Stevie Wonder. You smile and
yeah, I
move your
know,
head
I
when you
know,
talk.
I know. It's great. I love that. I didn't think about that until I saw myself. I was like, no way. I was like, I need the piano. Just like, yeah, 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 yeah.
Hey, Ebony and Ivory.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, he plays video games. I'm just like running into things all over the place, just walking into walls. So I should do that. Dude. Blind, like this guy blind who plays video games. So, good stuff.
What were you gonna say?
I don't know. I'm
No.
blind. So no, I really forgot. That sucks. I was gonna go to the
Specs
next
through
topic.
you. That's what
Yeah,
happens when you look at comments. It
yeah.
does
That's
that
don't
to me
highlight
every
them, dude. Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was simple. That was like a squirrel, dude. It was like, yeah,
It is.
highlight Philip blind. Yes.
Bex, does that mean that y'all are watching two more? Like how long is Game of Thrones?
It's
Or
long. Well, no, the
oh,
episodes aren't long. The series is. It took me a while, but it's good.
they just
It's
started.
good.
I'm
It's
still scared. I'm scared it's gonna be too creepy. I don't like things that keep me awake at night.
I think they made one of the characters one of those guys who just piss people off just to keep them coming back to yell at them. You know, it's like a hate watch.
Oh, hey,
Hate
what?
watch.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are. They have a lot of those on reality TV too.
Yeah, like
The
the
people
yeah.
you love to hate.
Yep, 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 yep. So good stuff. No, what I was gonna say it was related to lettuce.
Oh,
I have a dumb thing. It's like lettuce is my bait food for what I eat. I use lettuce. You know, use lettuce to catch cows, deer, stuff like that. That's my bait food. Yeah.
I get it. Like that's what draws the. But then at the same time, I'm thinking of was it Thai lettuce wraps or something? There's some dip that you eat with lettuce. Like they serve you the meat or the vegetables, and they bring out the little slices of lettuce, and
Hmm.
you take them, and you grab the food with the lettuce, and you put it in your mouth.
I'm
So
not
I
gonna lie.
also thought maybe you meant that you eat your meat with your lettuce.
Yes. Sometimes I go to In and Out and they have a protein style burger, which is patties wrapped in lettuce. That big long lettuce, they wrap it
Oh,
around
with
there, make a
no bread.
bun out of. Yeah, no bread.
Burger King used to do that, like a low carb. That was during the Atkins craze. They had like a burger with I forgot what it was called. It came in a little styrofoam thing, and it was the burger with the lettuce and the cheese and the tomato and the onion. There's no bread, no carbs.
Yeah, they call it protein style.
So Bex, are you saying in 50 minutes we can do it?
There you go.
So
We can do that. No
keep
problem.
going for 50. All right, cool. Sounds good.
Oh, yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Game of Thrones. I haven't watched House of Dragons. I think they're making something new right now. They're working on something. YouTube's promoting it.
Yeah, the new season just started, I believe, or something. I see it showing up in social media again. Axis, you think is, is something weird going on? Or yeah, I've been hearing things too. It seems like two things are happening. There's a lot of turbulence in the dramaverse, and then there's also like eyes of the storm where everybody's doing calm, relaxed things at the same time. I guess that's good. It covers the spectrum. A little something for everybody.
You got to
Thousands
have it
of
all.
cows.
No, I agree.
You mean they
Every
mash all the cows together so that the meat you get at the store is not just from one cow? Really? No, huh? They make
well, it's
like a
like
big pile of cow meat that they shape into. I don't want to. I don't want to hear any more about it.
yeah, it's
Oh,
all the extra
uninviting.
shavings. Yep, and they
Sorry.
throw in a big
All
yeah.
right, Axis.
Every
That makes more sense. That sounds more like the
oh
panel verse. Um,
uninviting.
yeah, I work with what shows up. I think Philip's fine. Philip's very inviting to me.
Yeah, I'll be. I guess I'll be having a panel soon when the
Yeah.
time comes. No, I'm in no rush. Like I said, I already have a great community. That it sucks that it's it sucks to say that work is my community, but I don't treat my coworkers like coworkers. I treat them like people who need. I treat them like people.
Yeah.
I don't treat them like
Yeah, I've
coworkers.
had jobs
Difference.
where my coworkers were kind of my extended family or
Well, I
filled
didn't
that
say
function.
that, brother. I ain't helping these people. Well, I will help these people move. I'm that dumb. But
Oh, is that your standard for family?
no. That's not my standard family. My family wasn't really tight, so everybody is potentially my family. I'm making my family. I'm making my tribe.
Yeah, that's
You
what
know
I
what I
had to
mean?
do.
So and that's what you're doing here, I believe. And you're doing a
Hmm.
great job at it, dude.
Oh God. Uh, well,
Yeah.
I'll let you know when it reaches family status if that's
Uh,
what we're working on. I'll stick with community for now. Keep in mind, I come from dysfunction too, so family might not necessarily be the goal here.
so yeah, no friends. I treat them like treat them like friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
friends I know. I've done friends my whole life,
Someone said
so I
that the
could.
other Someone said that the other day. We're not friends on the Panelverse. Well,
Might
that's
have
your
been me.
choice. That's just your choice.
It might have been me. I don't know what. Like I know what my friends are in real life. I know what friendship looks like in real life. I don't know how to tell when Panelverse has crossed over into actual friendship or not, because it doesn't get tested in life. And
Well,
so people that seem like they would be friends there's until we're actually friends, it's still just panelverse relationships.
I know this is dumb to say, but I know that potentially I'm your friend because I'm willing to save this world for you if I
I
had
think
to.
potentially you're my
If someone's
friend
like, "Hey,
because
dude, if we had to eliminate you to save the world," I'd be like, "Go ahead,
you would
go ahead."
eliminate me.
Why? Because you're here. You deserve to be here.
Wait, say that again.
If if there was a choice, like, hey, we had to take one person from the world to save the world, I would have no problem doing that, dude. Because
You would be the person.
well, would you? You don't. Do you have a problem doing that for everybody if you had to? Like, for example, I'm not saying
I
like
wouldn't rush to raise my head like you are right now. No,
I wouldn't have a problem with that. Sorry,
I it.
I know it's bold to say.
I think like anybody that serves in the military kind of is faced with it. So I'm not knocking it
Okay,
at
thank you.
all
Thank you for
as an
putting it in like a
impulse.
more grounded point. Like, it sounded crazy for a second, but it's like it's like a lot of people do it actually. A lot of people put their life in front of others all day in a more
Yeah,
extreme way, like cops, paramedics, firefighters. They do it more extreme than I do. I just say it. They actually perform it. People in the
yeah.
military, people who were protecting Trump, not knowing if there were more shooters there. You know what I mean? That's their job, but they also they could have not done their job. They could have like, okay, these I don't get paid that much.
I don't know what I would actually do in that situation. Like what my instincts would do. I might like take the bullet, but there are definitely certain people, certain individuals in my life that I would without question do that for. But if it was a
That's
stranger in the moment, I'm not like I might. I honestly don't know. I could go either way. It would be whatever my instincts propel me to do in that second. But if somebody said we need one person to volunteer to save the world, I would probably spend so much time thinking of do I want to be that person or not that somebody else would have volunteered before they got to me. So
like that's great. That's great. That's all I'm saying, dude. I think that's what a friend is willing to do.
yeah. Oh no, I do a lot for I've done a lot for my friends. I think I'm a good friend. As far as loyalty and things I'm willing to do. Some people have issues with my personality as a friend or like my interpersonal expression or stuff like that. But as far as friend actions that a friend would take, I think I do pretty decent there.
Yeah. Same here. Like I'll always be there for somebody who's doing the right thing. If they're off doing something stupid and it's affecting everybody's life in a negative way, I'm not going to support that.
Yeah.
But when they decide to do the right thing, I'll more than be happy to come. When they decide to, redeem themselves in a way or earn their credit back or somehow just show, like, hey, they want to change, then yeah, there's always another chance. But on like the panel verse, for me, I have a limitation. Like in real life, there's always another chance. But in the panel verse, you get three strikes.
Three, that's a
Yep.
lot.
Well, yeah,
You
because
fuck me over one time, Panoverse or life. Fuck me over. There's very few people that have gotten a second chance from me, and that's the most you ever get is two. It's fool me twice. I use the fool me twice rule, fool me once rule.
oh,
I think three is very generous. I thought that when Clinton had his three, was it Clinton with the three strikes policy?
oh, I haven't watched that show yet.
No, the it was some crime bill like criminals get three strikes before they get prosecuted or something. Let me see what it is.
That was an interesting president and interesting times.
Oh wait, this wasn't Clinton. This was 1952. Why did I associate it with Clinton? Um, Oh, have been implemented since 52. It's called habitual offender law. Um, they require a person who is convicted of an offense and who has one or two other previous serious convictions to serve a mandatory life sentence in prison with or without parole, depending on the jurisdiction. So the penalties get more severe for the third offense is what it is. Not that it takes three before you get punished. Okay, that makes more sense.
Well, I remember it was like DOIs, 3 DOIs, and you lose your license.
People should not be able to drive drunk three times and risk killing
Well,
somebody and themselves three times.
the first time is a warning, right? The first time's like, really, we want to take your license, but this is your chance to redeem yourself. We're gonna send you to school, driver's school, and do all that. We're gonna put a record, points against your record. The second time's like, bro, what's
Get
going
them
on here?
off the street. If somebody's
Third
driving
time's,
drunk three
yeah,
times,
yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, you can't just, for drinking, bro. You're really gonna take away someone's life for drinking once? That's gnarly. That's tough on me. I would say that's tough.
what the
Driving is
three?
a big experience in California. If you don't have a car, you're not doing well. Like, to me, it's a big, like, I couldn't imagine not having a car. I use my truck as a work truck, so I couldn't imagine not having a car. So I would want like a slap on the wrist first.
But I don't know. I have very little sympathy for drinking and driving
That's a
because
great stand.
people know it's an intentional crime. You know you're not supposed to drink and drive. Everybody knows that, and people that do it rationalize it in the moment because they're drunk, but they know the risk. So there's less innocence to me involved in that crime because it's very easy to not drink and drive.
I
And
don't know.
I have done it before myself. I will admit it. So I'm not exempting myself either. But I don't think I was at my best when I was doing it.
I don't know why, but I think it'd make a good stream to see you drink once for like your celebration stream.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking about doing it this either Friday or this Saturday, or maybe a
Uh,
combination of Friday and Saturday. The 12-hour thing. Um, I can't do alcohol for reasons, many reasons. Otherwise, I would. I'd have a beer or
and
a
four,
glass of wine,
and four,
but
and
it would create a lot of medical effects.
and four. Good times. Hey Chuck, you haven't been on shows lately. What's going on with that? Have you noticed that, or have you seen Chuck about? I
Every
think he's
time I
doing all
pull
right.
up a panel, I see Chuck, or I
Okay.
see his icon, the little logo.
Oh,
Sometimes I see him on 4 or 5 panels at the same time, and then sometimes people are restreaming shows with Chuck on the restream.
did you catch PF Young's debate about Jordan Peterson being an atheist and not fully
Oh,
admitted
was
yet?
that with one of his little call-in people? Was that a clip from
Most
the call-in
likely.
show? I think I.
Most likely. I saw the thumbnail for it. I understand the debate already. It's been an issue, like not an issue, but it's been a topic on the streams lately on the YouTube verse.
I'm
And for
trying
it,
to
Chuck.
find it because I saw it. Oh, I think it's under shorts.
Thanks for checking in, brother. Oh no, you had to. Multiplicity. Ooh, I didn't mess that up.
I, Daniel, why do I know that movie? Is it with Bill Murray?
That sounds like that. Like, I
I
remember
know
a
this
cover
movie.
with a guy standing like in a walking position at a
Yeah, is
door
it a
in a
white?
circle.
Okay, multiple. 1996. Michael Keaton, Andy McDowell. Yes, I do remember this movie, but I don't.
Movies were great. They were great, and it came out all the time. There were so many movies to watch. Now it's just like these
I
movies that
know.
come out and they're just
I know. I think 1999 was the peak of postmodern filmmaking, which was the filmmaking of our generation. And then they had some decent movies throughout the 2000s, like sprinkled. And then when it gets to the 2010s and the streaming, I just noticed I switched more toward the long form storytelling, like the long TV series more than I do. I hardly ever watch movies if I can watch a long form TV series instead.
Now, was I wrong to think that back in the 80s and 90s, potentially early 2000s, that it was rare for real movie stars to be in TV shows? Like it was like separating Hollywood and TV, or was
Yeah,
it
no, there
always
was. The
across?
Hollywood star system was very much a rarefied world that was separated from, because they wanted it to be like the idealized version of people. They wanted them to be something untouchable that the public didn't have access to, that was remote, so they would keep reaching for it and admiring it. And television brought everything into people's living rooms. It made it more intimate, and the celebrities were more. Just
You
like
know,
with you, like right now, that's one of the things that drew me to YouTube is instead of just passively watching content, I could actually interact with it. It gave an extra level of intimacy that even TV didn't have. And so it's like there's this decreasing distance between the celebrity and the audience. Like even rock stars, they were like one of us. The rock stars were teenagers just like us playing instruments. They weren't these godlike figures that we worship from afar. And
yeah, I watched
movies
a lot of
were.
John Wayne. That's why. Yeah. And now it's just a blend. Everybody is willing to do any good story they can find, in their opinion, or any woke story they can do, in their opinion. uh,
I don't even know what's on. We watched a few good movies over the last year or so that were recent. There was a Nicolas Cage movie, Dream, Dream Scenario. It was decent. So there's like indie people are still making a few movies here and there.
so, did Survivor ever go woke? Did you watch
It
it go
did.
like a weird
Did. It
this
did.
weird like
Survivor was in 2006. So what Survivor had the idea to do a season with a tribe of black people, a tribe of white people, a tribe of Mexican people, and a tribe of Asians. And
that actually would probably be a great episode.
they did. They did a whole season where they divided the tribes by race, by races. You had like five black people living on a beach together, five Asians living on a beach together, and all the racial stereotypes came out, even among themselves. Like the Asians would be talking about like people think Asian people are this and that, but that Asian person over there is this, and I'm this kind of Asian, and it was an interesting. They did it as a social experiment, and it was an interesting social experiment. But they've never repeated it. But then after COVID, when things got really woke, there was this one episode. There were a couple of tribal councils where people were accused of implicit bias and unconscious racism and all that. And it exploded at tribal council. And that was one of the most cringe, uncomfortable episodes of Survivor ever. And ever since that season, which was like maybe a year and a half ago, there's never been any wokeness since. Like, it's all disappeared. It's like it
You
reached that head, and then they decided that's the limit that Survivor can handle of wokeness.
For some reason, there's this like one book and movie. I think it's called Lord of the Flies or something like that. The Kids on the Island.
Yeah,
I
William
think that's
Golding
what
novel.
inspired Survivor, and they're hoping that happens.
Sometimes it does,
That's what I'm saying. Like, what inspired Survivor? It's like
because
that.
it's
One of the
it's
two
human.
guys with
It's
the rock.
competition. It's hierarchy. There's
Yeah.
always in Survivor. There's always somebody at the bottom of the hierarchy, and you don't want to be that person. It's like musical chairs. You don't want to be the person without the chair. And so somebody each week is going to end up without a chair at the end of tribal council because the group's going to decide that one of those people is at the bottom and has to go home. But then Big Brother, each week one person gets power. So they actually have a person at the top each week, and then that person decides who's at the bottom for the week. And so it creates a hierarchy. You have one person with the ability to set the hierarchy for the week. And then the next week someone else gets that power. So each week this artificial hierarchy is created, and then they have to all fight to not be that bottom person.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not training like every day, because potentially I think you're going to be on Survivor.
I'd be horrible. I'd be horrible at it because here's my thing. This is my prediction for Survivor, and I have watched autistic people go on it before and get voted out pretty early. I would either be the first one out, like they'd get me out, very, or if I made it past the first few, then I think I'd be in for the long haul, and I'd have a good shot at a long run. If they don't, if my weirdness doesn't get to them the first few thing, then I'm good, and I think I'm in enough to make some progress. But also, I have so many blind spots. I'm so naive. It's so easy for people to lie and fool me and trick me and produce to make reality seem as I fall for all of that all the time. So I think other people's gameplay would be successful on me. Like I wouldn't see it coming. My gameplay would be good, but I don't know how I would defend against the gameplay that I can't see coming from other people.
Right, like the guy who was like, "Hey, let's go give this guy the totem pole and send him over there." And I'd be one of those guys like, "Oh, this just I wouldn't give. What would you give up? You saw the
That's what
guy."
I'm saying. Like a good player in the back of their mind would be like, wait a minute, is this state? There's something off here. Did they really find there, or did they just making me think they found? And then they would keep looking, but because they were so good at it, it made the people believe it and say, okay, they found it. There's no reason not to look. So that means that their gameplay was more successful than the other player's ability to be suspicious and continue looking. So that's the outwit part. They outwitted.
Hmm. Hmm. Survivor, good stuff. It's gonna. How many seasons have they done?
I think I think the last one they did was 45 or 46. So the one coming up will be either 46 or 47.
Is it gonna be breaking any records anytime soon for the longest running season show?
I don't know what is the longest running.
That is long, dude, for like actual show. I know it took a breaks, right? It had to take a break because of all that,
Only
but
during COVID, like that one little. Um, I think they didn't do a. Let's see, did they do a? Did they skip a whole year or just one season? I don't remember. I think they might have skipped just one season. All right, let's see. Longest running U.S. television series. Well, you have stuff like NFL, Meet the Press, CBS Evening News, etc. But as far as TV shows, The Tonight Show, Wonderful World of Disney, um,
okay. They put it in a different. I like
Divorce
in
Court. Let me find one that's recognizable. General Hospital, Jeopardy, the soap operas, 700 Club. What's like an evening show that's run the longest? Man, this is just fascinating about what it says about America. Um,
what do you mean? Like what we enjoy as entertainment as
yeah,
a
like
population?
what stays stable in our pop culture? Like,
It would be fun to see that graph where it is highlighted in certain sectors and how bright it is in like New York or compared to like Alaska. You're like, whoa, whoa.
man, I can't.
You got to
America's Most
describe what
Wanted.
you're seeing. Oh,
Cops.
that was a good show. What were good shows back in the day, guys? What were
Like
good
in,
shows?
well, what's the day? Is it the 70s or the 80s?
To me,
TV changed about mid 80s.
Cops was epic.
What was?
Cops,
Yeah,
Cops,
I
Cops
like
was epic.
Cops. I used to watch a lot of Cops.
The music,
Uh huh.
everything,
The
every
drama. It was the just the interaction between the cops and the P. It's kind of like the Paddleverse. You had all these crazy characters, and you didn't know what wild story they were going to try to tell the cops to convince them of their reality. Yeah, there's a lot of there's some people on these shows that will admit that I'm a sociopath. I'm here to screw people over and lie and win the money, and I don't feel any guilt about it.
So that's where I'm kind of curious about this. You know how it's weird. You know, you ever have a question you don't know how to ask, and it's better not to ask it. So you're just like, well, damn it, I have a question and I want
I,
to answer, but it's not good. I don't. What's the
my thing is I never know till I ask the question, so I have to ask it first to see if I should not have asked it. So when I reach those moments, I'm like, okay, well now I have to ask the question to find out if that was true.
All right, then. You know what? Since I already put it out there, so I was looking at things right now at the what's the good and the positive. I try to reflect on that right now. And I had an experience the other day who is somebody who was on the spectrum, right? And he was just being strange, but he kind of did
Wait,
something.
hang on. Once, let me. What? This looks like there's drama. Axis, what is going on? You've been making some very cryptic comments. You're welcome to come up. I don't. Uh, Last time you were on, we had a perfectly fine conversation, and I don't know what happened since. But I have no beef with you at all. So I just wanted to clear that up. Okay, go ahead. The positive, the good, and the positive.
Yeah, so I always think of people on the spectrum being on the positive, but this person had like a strange interaction with me the other day, and it was a negative one. But then he tried to cover it up like it was no big deal. I was like, oh, okay. So do you know? I was like, does he know? Is he playing a game? Like he understands he's on the
Was
spectrum.
it real life or Panoverse?
It was real life, and I was
And
like,
what
do people on the spectrum sometimes like take that and they use it to their advantage? Like they understand that, oh, people
some
will now treat me like a king and serve to me because I'm on the spectrum and I can't live life necessarily by myself. So I have servants.
like will they exploit victimhood? Yeah.
Thank you for putting that
Not
in
all, but
professional,
but just like some neurotypicals will, some autistic people will as well.
because they're just like us. They're just like everybody else. So I was like,
Not
damn,
really.
dude, that was so strange to have that experience. And him, I was like, whoa. It was like,
They are and they're not. I mean, we are, we're not. Like, I don't want you to get lulled into too comfortable of we're all just like each other, because then you get caught by the differences. But we're not like like mutant freaks either. I don't think. I think there's still a common basis of humanity that we all
oh,
work off of. Like we all have the same evolutionary psychology, more or less.
like for example, like this is a perfect scenario where you can't judge a book by a cover. Where on the outside he looked a little on the spectrum, and on the inside, probably his brain could be fully developed.
Wait, say that again.
On the outside, his body projects on the spectrum, but his brain could be fully developed. You can't judge a book by its cover.
Oh yeah, I get that a lot. People think I'm less intelligent than I am because of the rocking and the weird, goofy body motions and all that. They draw intellectual conclusions from that. But they do
Yeah.
the same thing with my accent and the fact that I'm from Louisiana.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I just let them. If people want to underestimate me, more power to them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a topic for the panel. I'm not really. It didn't really get to me. I just said, "Are you all right, brother?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, then why'd you do what you do?" But anyways, so yeah, yeah. Shout out to Axis Rap Blood, brother. Have a
Yeah,
good one,
take
man. All
care,
love,
Axis. In fact,
all
he
love.
has the rat of peace. That he's to me, Axis is the most valuable person in the Panelverse right now. Anytime you need
Could you
peace
do
and you
that?
need some of that drama, like dispelled,
Do you have the
Axis
ability,
has the
or
means.
want the ability to take care of like a small animal? You know that bring views, right?
Oh, you
Content.
mean on the?
If you got a kitten,
I'm not
that would bring views.
like Barney. I can't make myself think in terms of numbers and clouts and views and how do I get like I can start to think that way, but I lose the thread very quickly. My mind just doesn't stay on what can I do that would be content. I've had animals before, and I'm really good at plants, believe it or not. But I I don't want any living thing depending on me for its existence and its well-being. I would just
It's
feel
great
very
discipline.
nervous.
It's great discipline and mental, for mental strength. It's really good for mental strength. It's really good. You'd be surprised what a companion animal does. You'd be
Yeah,
surprised. And I was
I've
thinking, you know how
had 'em.
cool it'd be if Jeff had a fish tank behind him. Well, that's just
I
me.
could try the sea monkeys again. We had fish growing up, but I remember you'd have to change the goldfish water, and it stank. I just hated the smell of the
I
fish
would do.
tank when you had to clean it out.
Well, you gotta imagine that's where they're going to the bathroom. So I
I
would change
know.
the water daily,
I'm not good at
personally.
all that.
Well, that's what I mean. It creates discipline. It creates like it creates something. It's pretty interesting, the whole idea of
Maybe that's
an
why.
animal.
And I had a parakeet growing up that I had to do its cage, and put the new.
That sounds
So
fun.
I could do all of that as a kid just fine. As an adult, somehow it seems very daunting.
Parakeet sounds fun.
It was a project. I think it was a 4-H project. I had to keep a book on it, and like put in these little report. It was like animal raising or something,
Hmm.
and that was my animal raising project. And my mom left it outside one day on the porch, and the cat got it.
I'm
And
sorry
I
to
was
hear.
spending the night at my friend's, and so when she came to pick me up, she kind of did the cat is on the roof thing, and slowly let me know that when I got home, don't expect the bird to be in the cage anymore because
Dogs
of
do the
her.
same thing. An untrained dog, a feral dog, will eat your chickens. No problem.
Yeah.
Will eat a bird, no problem. If it was sitting on the couch and you looked over, just go. Dog would do the same thing.
Yes, I think that was my last time to try to raise a pet. Actually,
Um,
was the bird. Once it was gone, I'm like, no more.
the
We
only
had
thing
cats, but I didn't really have to raise them.
the only thing I don't like about animals, I use them as an excuse for limiting the ability to travel.
Yeah.
That's the only excuse I have for not having an animal in the future is the ability. You can't just get on an airplane with a dog. And I
Yeah.
get big dog. Yeah, I would get a big dog. Like 100. 80 to 100, 120 pound dog. So it's like you can't. You can't just. Everything's a road trip. Can't just.
Well, you could send it to doggy daycare. They even have the doggy bus now that comes and picks it up
Yeah,
from your house. It takes it doggy
that's
daycare.
expensive, bro. Doggy daycare is more expensive than just put it in a hotel for a week and with a 50-pound bag of food.
Yeah. Children are expensive.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Children are expensive. I like the idea of the parakeet. Have you ever had like lizards? Those are interesting.
I didn't have lizards. Did I have a snake? I don't think. I had a terrarium, and it had like plant, and I might have put bugs or something in. And then I tried sea monkeys 2 or 3 times. I never could get those to work.
Don't you just add water?
I followed the directions, but nothing happened.
Well, they're hard to see, aren't they?
Must be because I didn't see it. I didn't see them at all.
Either way, yeah, yeah. I think it'd be a great thing. It'd be funny. It's just for content, dude. But I think what you're doing is great. If you can just do this show naturally like this, and have fun, and not have to worry about creating thumbnails, stressing out about doing like, oh man, I used to stress about making thumbnails, bro.
I don't even think about that. Like I'm so. That's the kind of stuff that I would benefit from hiring somebody. If there's people that enjoy that, they're good at that. It's a valuable service. I would outsource stuff like that.
Great idea. Yeah, there's I couldn't. Yeah, that's expensive too. Yeah. So either way, I got scammed. I almost got scammed. Well, I did get scammed for what is that? Someone's like, hey, I'll do some art for you because I was starting a YouTube channel, and they're like, hey, I'll do like an avatar image for like StreamYards, a YouTube channel banner, and all this kind of stuff. And they did this thing that was like AI generated, and I was like, what is this? And he's like, well, you asked me to do it. And I was like, no, I did it. And they're like, I was like, well, these are the colors I like, you know what I mean? And he sends back something else. And it's not even the right colors. I'm like, what are you doing? He's all, well, because I did all this work for you, you owe me $50. I was like, what are you talking about? And he's all, then he went on Twitter and he's like, this person scams people. He asked him to do work, doesn't pay him. I was like, what? And so I took screenshots of everything and just posted on Twitter. And so they're like, well, we're going to take you down. Then he got somebody else involved. I was like, "Who are you, bro? Like, this is strange." And so now with two people involved, I was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Well, if you don't pay this guy, we're gonna report you to YouTube." And I was like, in Twitter, I was like, "Dude, you guys are making my life difficult. Here's $20. Get out of my world." I gave him $20 and got out of my world. It was the worst scam ever. So now I will never work with a third party freaking artist ever, ever. They ruined it for every artist. Screw you guys. I'll make my own art. I have to.
Well, AI art's so easy to make now.
That's what I mean, dude. And I even told him, no, I don't even want this. And he just kept on sending emails. I was like, this is the weirdest scam I've ever seen. This is a headache. Here's $20. It's it's over. Thank you. Bye. It's all on Twitter if anybody wants to argue with me. But here's $20. You know, I heard that's actually a joke. That's when people owe you money, it's better just to let them have that money because that's the
Oh yeah.
cheapest way to get rid of them.
I don't lend money. I don't lend money. I give. If you need money and I have it to help you out, I will give it to you. And if you pay me back, great. That shows your character as a person. But I've written that money off by the time I've loaned it. I don't expect it back.
Yeah, that's great. I have the same logic. I'm like, well, I'm not going to ask somebody who's struggling to pay me back. They didn't have the money in the first place. They're not going to have the money in
Yeah.
the future, most likely. If they do,
Yeah.
they probably will pay me back. But if not, it's a loss already. It's a
Yeah.
gift.
I don't loan. I give. I'll just
Yeah,
give.
it's a gift.
And
Yeah.
then if they can pay me back if they want. And if they don't pay back, I'll remember. I probably won't be given again. But it's a gift. It's a gift that they are invited to treat as a loan, but I'm not setting the expectation that I'm getting any of it back. I just find that keeps friendships clean.
Right. Right. Did you ever hear the old saying, if you want to you want to have friends, you don't talk about religion, money, or politics? Sorry, my AC kicked on.
Um, I've I money I don't know anything about, so that's never been an issue with friends. But religion and politics has it cost me friends? My politics has during 2020.
Right.
Hang on one sec.
That's so politics separated my family. They got really big into anti Donald Trump. So that was sad. We couldn't even have dinner without it being on the TV, blasted on TV. You know, it's like, dude, we just turn that off. It's crazy. Let's just have dinner. And then money would be like lending. You know, lending somebody 20
Oh
bucks.
yeah, that's why I keep
That's
that
yes,
separate. I
that's
keep that out of friendship.
and then religion. I honestly think I could have those conversations with people and still be friends because I'm just listening. I'm not really having a debate or trying to tell them what to do. I'm just listening. So I think the person who said that wasn't a good listener. uh, what do you think about oh my gosh, how simple people were in the day? For example, what shout out to Daniel Price is he's all sees out the demon. That was a theory that we say
Bless you.
bless you because you're sneezing out
And you
demons.
know,
What are
I
you
still
thinking about?
say it
What
to this day. For
I
that
say,
reason, even as a Satanist, I try to protect people from demons. I just noticed that. I need to stop saying that.
I
That's one way I could improve my Satanism.
I used to muddy the waters and say bless
Bless
you.
you.
Yeah,
Bless
so
you.
it's close enough.
No
Instead of
more
the brownie
blessings.
points.
I'm just gonna let people sneeze and just sit there in silence.
Yeah. So, but
Say I'm a
oh my,
Satanist. You're not getting blessed from me.
oh my gosh, like the world ended, boats would fall off the edge of the world. So it's amazing how much people have grown, and it's scary. That's what I remember about world history. How scary it was back in the day. People used to walk around with swords and poke each other with them, dude. That sounds
How is
weird.
that more scary than guns? Concealed carry or open carry?
It's more personal, Jeff. It's it's more personal. Like if someone's like physically going, well, bam, with like a gun, they can just pop around the corner, pink, and then walk away. If someone's like taking an effort and like like, ugh, and you're trying to fight, but I don't know. It seems like people used to be more hands-on, evil. Like kings had torture chambers, and you didn't go, hey, dude, that's illegal, bro. We gotta put you in jail.
So we become less savage,
Less feral, sir.
less
We're still
feral.
savages. They're still savages, but we're just less feral. There's plenty of savages out there.
That we
Savages on the
know of. I
metaverse.
wonder what kind of torture chambers are used now. You think they've just like sophisticated them?
Dude, the worst torture uh, I could think of would be the waterboarding. You know, when people just drip the water over your face with a rag so you can't breathe. That sounds horrible. The pain stuff, you can just, pass out. So, but the waterboarding seems pretty bad. Fire seems pretty bad. So I don't know, bro. But that's what I mean, Jeff. Like I can go on and on about torture. I used to be feral, bro. It's easy. It's too easy. It's too easy. Sometimes I think I'm not gonna say it. That wouldn't be bad for the panelverse. It's too easy, brother. That's why I chose religion because it always fascinated me about people who are put in some of the most extreme circumstances and were still kind. It was strange to hear about people, for example, in concentration camps sharing food when there's no food to share, being patient when you're starving, like beyond starving. And I was like, whoa, that took some kind of something special.
Do you have that in you? Like even being feral, do you have
When I was
kindness,
feral,
compassion?
yes, I wasn't completely feral. You know what I mean? Like I was just I was more like, I had to survive. I didn't think about rules, kind of
Yeah.
feral. I wasn't like feral to the point where I don't think about like the consequences of my actions. That feral. People who,
Is that why you're
who
so big on uniforms?
no, I'm big on uniforms because I think it reduces it's the positives outweigh the negatives, in my opinions.
Uniformity, so to
Yeah,
speak.
not at that and for schools, not in public. For schools, schools have a purpose. In public, do whatever you want, but in schools, that's a purpose. You don't go to school to have fun. You go
Yeah,
to
but well,
school.
I'd say there's many purposes. There's not just a single purpose. But even if we focus on just education as the main purpose, I haven't seen clothing interfere with that much one way or the other. Like I
I
think you
have.
get a quality education wearing black gothic vampire gear just like you can wearing a Catholic
Well,
school uniform.
we can go on all spectrums of clothing. When girls' skirts are getting too short and their tops are getting too small, so we can go to that area. You know what I mean? Or how about, do you want a guy wearing yoga pants and showing his junk around school? There's like clothes get
Well,
weird,
they
bro.
they have dress codes. Like even schools without uniforms have dress
What do you
codes.
mean? What's the dress code against yoga pants?
I don't know
That's
if
what
there
I
is one. I'm
mean,
just saying
dude. There's no
there
people
still
put
there still are parameters even without uniforms. You
right,
have some guidelines on you have some boundaries or limits on.
and kids break that constantly, which is a distraction from learning. You're there to learn, and unfortunately, the topics aren't any good. So that have fun at school, I guess, because there's no good topics. So yeah, if you want to go, yeah, go have fun at school. Never mind, dude. School's worthless. It's not even worth it anymore.
What would be a good top? What would you teach kids instead of reading, writing,
Well,
math, history, science?
how to balance a checkbook,
I agree. Financial literacy
how to
absolutely has a place.
cook,
I agree.
how to cook those
They
basic
had home ec.
foods.
We had home ec.
We don't have. They got rid of that in my school.
It was required.
That's what I mean. Schools are different, bro. Schools are
Wow.
different, bro.
I'm glad
I
I'm
would
not
have
involved in it.
I would have an option as an elective for people who wanted to start new trades.
Yeah, we
I'd
had
also
that
have
too. We used to have
they don't
that.
have trade. They don't have shop. They don't have
All
like
back. Break it all back.
that's what I
Get
mean,
that back
Jeff.
into
Schools
schools.
are a if I remember correctly, when they were phasing that out, were plastic bubble wrap places.
So what are they learning? Because they're not learning math. and
They're learning
reading.
how to be woke and
What
history
else are they learning?
and history. They're just telling people, like I said, when I went to school, California schools focus on history. They focus on events like war. They focus on events like slavery. Sorry, I need something to drink. I'll be right back.
All right.
But that's what they focused on, and that's what I read out of it. Yes, these great things did happen, like Declaration of Independence, peace, and all these other things. But during that, a lot of death happened, the, in the billions, right after from the era of the Chinese, what I remember, Chinese, all the way through to modern times, billions of people have died just for these little tiny events of peace, pieces of paper that have established, like for example, the United States. But I'm gonna get something to drink. Right back, brother.
All right. I'm gonna do that too when I get a.
And this is how you know I'm still feral. I'll prove it. I don't drink from a cup, bro. Why waste? I drink
Wait,
straight
what?
from
Let me
this.
see.
It's a
Let me
big
see.
tea, sweet tea.
Oh,
Oh, big
okay,
sweet
yeah.
tea. Yeah, well, here, so you don't get demonetized.
Will I get demonetized? I thought I get
Oh, that was a
sponsorship.
joke. That was a joke. That was a joke. But no, some
I
people,
was going for a
I don't know how
sponsorship.
that works. If you got to cover certain labels, so certain ads can play. But no, if I remember, yeah, school's not so much hands-on anymore. It's more about bring your computer and learn from it. Learn how to use your computer.
So they
Uh,
sit at their desk with their laptops now. It's not like a.
it's
We had a
required.
whiteboard like a.
It's required to have internet and a laptop for school now. Oh, another thing I was thinking about, someone brought up the idea of popularity. It also helps reduce the cost of these clothes for parents, I would think. They don't have to buy every season's worth
But
of clothes.
can the parents decide that for themselves if they want the cost reduced or not, or
True.
if
And
they
then
mind buying the clothes?
I can debate against that, like, will they still be wearing those clothes outside of school?
Yeah, but I still think that's in the scope of the parent and not the school. For the school to say, "Oh, we want to save you money on clothes, so we're good." That's not the school's role to decide how much the parent spends on clothes or what kind of clothes. The parent should decide how much they want to invest in the clothes. The school doesn't need to babysit that. Like, oh, we're looking out for your budget. That's their role.
Yeah, there's always it's not, yeah, there are problems with uniforms. I agree. Like for example, if your uniform gets torn, like how do you replace it? Is the school have that available for you? And then are you gonna get dinged for not having a uniform when it's like, dude, it's damaged. I'm trying to get a replacement. You know what I mean? There are negatives of having uniforms.
My
Um,
my biggest negative of all, to me, it shifts the It's more distracting because it shifts the If everybody shows up in their normal clothes, fine. If they're in a uniform, it shifts the focus from focusing on the lesson to now you have to scrutinize who's in compliance with the uniform standard, and it adds this extra layer of information you have to be aware of that you didn't have to pay attention to before. And now everybody, because it sets a standard now, it sets a new set of lines that everybody has to be in, and everybody's going to be studying the ones that are not. And that to me is more of a distraction than if people could just dress however they want and not have to worry about staying in their own lines and making sure everybody around them is in line. It creates this this conformity or collectivism or social policing that I think is more damaging than anything else about it.
no,
The
I never
mentality that it creates.
I never really looked at my fellow students that way when I was a kid about the details of what they were wearing, even if
I didn't
we
either.
didn't have uniforms. So
I didn't either.
I don't know if uniforms would affect that premise, but it might.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just funding the uniforms in the first place. I think that's why my school just went to T-shirts. That's that's the only budget they had. The uniform they had budget for.
Well, I remember at one point in time, our uniform was just a basic Dockers like a golf polo shirt in a certain color, and then a basic Dockers in a certain color, with basic shoes. So it didn't really need the school symbol on it. It just needed to be within the color parameters. And the
Now,
collared T-shirt, just slacks. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So I guess it could make it a budget-friendly uniform.
I, I think every single one of my nieces and nephews all go to private school, and I think they all do the uniform thing. I'm thinking of family pictures and stuff. And they're all fine. Like they all turned out fine, but I think they would have all turned out fine and well educated without the uniforms too. Like
Agreed. Agreed.
but they live the uniform schooling in a way that me and my siblings definitely did not. So I'm getting to see the contrast, but I don't know how much of a difference it made one way or the other.
Mm, mm. Well, I appreciate you entertaining the uniform topic. Thank you. I don't have much
It's a
more on
good.
it. I wish we had something else to talk about, though, other than
It
uniforms.
brings up a lot of like other fundamental philosophical issues. So it was a good topic to talk about, especially with the Satanist who's anti-authoritarian, anti-conformist. Quit telling people what to do and how to dress. I want them to. I want kids to be prepared for a world where they're autonomous, self-determining adults. And I think there's not enough of that in the world. And I think uniforms work against that. It doesn't foster self-determination. It fosters conformity.
Now, what do you think about uniforms in the workplace? It seems to actually bring cohesion. For example,
I don't.
McDonald's, everybody
Yeah,
recognizes McDonald's worker.
I don't
Everybody
have a problem.
recognizes, but
Yeah, I
so
don't.
uniforms bring cohesion. Why wouldn't it bring cohesion at a school?
I don't think they're the same set. I don't think the goals are the same. I have no problem with workplace uniform workplace workplace uniforms. I've worn workplace uniforms. They reflect the company. You're there in a certain role. School's not like that. Um, they're public facing. They're communicating something about your role in that company and something about the company itself. And that's not what kids are. That's not the relationship kids have to the public.
Damn it. Damn it. It's funny. I want to I can debate you about this topic for some reason. It's fascinating, but I don't think we're gonna get anywhere. And I wish I had a different topic, dude. I really do.
Uh,
Because it's weird
well, you
talking
know
about.
what? We can keep this on the table, and when you come up, we could chip away at it each time when we don't have anything else to talk about. Because I
Well, it's
think
not.
there's more there than than the surface that we've scratched.
Well, that's where I agree. I'm trying to find the deeper end of like what is the concept of uniformity in general. That doesn't sound good, right?
Because
Just having
your
everybody as a uniform doesn't sound good throughout the whole life spectrum.
yeah.
Like, yeah, as a community, everybody should be wearing the same thing. That just sounds weird. Companies, certain things that does help. It does sound weird though. You say I want everybody in the uniform. That does sound weird.
And the ultimate argument for it is that it keeps things uniform so there's no distractions. There's nothing about each individual student that would distract other students from focusing on. And I'm skeptical of how much of an issue that actually is, I guess. So if that's the fundamental argument, being a student and a teacher, I've never seen it make that. I've never seen kids not be able to learn because they couldn't stop focusing on what somebody was wearing.
Hey, so you went to you went to college that had professors, or did you ever go to a university that had professors?
Yeah.
Did they ever wear the goofy outfits with like the robes and stuff? No.
No. Well, for like ceremony, like for graduation ceremony, one of
Yeah.
them might come out in the robe and the. Did they have a little hat thing or a collar thing?
Can you imagine that being the outfit is like a robe and a wig?
It was for
Like
other
like
generations.
we're so fortunate. Back in the day, I heard the reason why they wore wigs is because they couldn't take showers every day, so it's easier to maintain a wig than it was your hair.
Yeah, I know.
You know, and so it was like easy to have short hair, and the wig would be powder, so you wouldn't get lice. So you just,
I
I
would have
don't
not been
know.
good in those days. I would have looked like a bum. Like,
You know what's fascinating is some places still use that system of wigs and robes.
yeah, like in England, the barristers, the what's the magistrates or the
I believe in
barristers.
Canada too.
Yeah,
I believe so. Dude, like how? I don't know. It's interesting, right? That's interesting.
Chuck, I've heard this too when we touched on this tonight, but to me, that's almost just as bad an argument because it's trying to talking about education. This is trying to falsify the sense of hierarchy. And I think kids should be faced with the realities that hierarchies exist and social hierarchies exist and learn to navigate their place instead of creating this false illusion that we're all equal and then they get out in the real world and they learn the hard lesson of no, there's social hierarchies and they exist and you're in them.
So the other day, Jeff brought up a good idea that not he brought up an idea that's going around right now of OTW being part of a group of people making a card game.
The panel,
Well,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. What would Chuck's superpower be? You were
Did he
good the
have
other
the Chuck
day,
card?
discovering Brown's boy's superpower. So what do you think Chuck's
Chuck
superpower
Chuck
is?
would have at least two power. He would have the power to instigate, and he would have the power of like bilocationality. He would have the power. In fact, I would make multiple Chuck cards, and you don't just get a Chuck card. You get like 5 Chuck cards. You could play them on multiple panels all at the same time, or you could have multiple Chucks in play. Because somehow he's managed to be on every panel. Every time you pull up a panel, Chuck's on it.
Each different
Chuck
Chuck
and
card
Hank.
would be a Chuck, like for example, when he's just a C. He doesn't have any avatar, and it's just a C. The other one would be the Chuck and Tennessee flags, and the other one would be him as a camera. You know what I mean? So it'd be 3 Chuck cards, all different forms of on the panel verse. No avatar, and cam. So there you go. That's
Yeah,
perfect.
he definitely needs to include a Chuck card. And I think he said he has something like, is it 300? Maybe it's 700. It was a lot. It was a staggering number. He has like an Excel spreadsheet of all the like the panel and the cards he intends to make and what their powers and concepts are. And he's already like in the hundreds. So he's gonna have like the basic set, and then there'll be expansion packs, I guess, with other panelists.
Do you think I know the Panelverse loves ideas. Do you think the idea is worth funding?
Yeah,
It takes funds. That's gonna take
I
a couple
think
if proper a couple
did he
grand.
crowd did he kick would he kick funded crowd funded? I don't know.
Yep.
I think he
Yep. There's a
did he talk
GoFundMe,
about how it was like it just got
Kickstarter.
out of
Yeah.
development. I don't know. It seemed like he mentioned something about a funding stage, but you pay to play too, so it's gonna kind of self fund as you play it. Like you pay to play each card. You play the cards through super chats by paying a certain amount, and a super chat lets you
Right.
play a certain card, and so it's gonna draw an income as well.
The only thing, like I've noticed, the Panelverse communities are good, but I've noticed sometimes the policing becomes unfair.
The what does?
Policing, like for example, I want to stream at this time, and you're like, well, I want to stream at that time. Well, what do you do? Like you guys are both streaming at the same time. And you're like, well, I'm competing against you. It's like you're not. I'm not competing against you, dude. This is when I have my time. It becomes a
Nobody
conflict.
polices me. I
So,
stream what I want.
well, you'd be surprised. They start offering like ideas, like, "Oh, is this your stream schedule?" So, like they start getting it gets strange. It gets strange. For some reason, someone tries to um, survivor lead everybody.
Yeah, there is some producing going. There's organic and inorganic content. Like what we're doing right now, I would call this organic content. I didn't come up here with any particular intention to stage any kind of conversation or create.
What's this script?
There is none here. But then some people, it's inorganic organic content. They will either take existing organic content and start to operate on it intentionally to slant it a certain way and make it to be a particular type of content, or they will coordinate with other people and stage content, or use like existing content. Some people will go on panels and instigate content so that clips can be made of it later that people can use on other channels. So there's all kind of like production and content forming tricks going on, and that's the inorganic part of the panelverse. And so you could never really tell in any given moment how much is inorganic and how much is organic. I am 100%. I'm horrible at the inorganic stuff. So on my panel, you could pretty much count that it's 99% inorganic. I mean organic, at least on my part. What other people on here are doing, I don't know.
That's good. We can trust you, brother. I trust you. I trust you. Sometimes channels I go to, I can't tell if the person is, yeah, I can't tell if they're grifting and how committed they are,
Yeah.
or if it's really, it's I can't tell. I cannot tell who they are. It's a great. It's a.
I mean, I assume everybody's grifting. Like I think this is a legitimate way to make a living or secure an income. So I don't mind that people are monetized and drawing money through their channels. I don't like we're all grifting. If that's a grift, we're all grifting. But people that are paying the money, they're paying it because they get some kind of subjective value from their experience here. So in that sense, it's not a grift as long as people are paying for some kind of experience that they feel like they're getting, or they would stop paying for it.
That's the thing about YouTube. Grifting isn't a bad thing. It's welcomed here.
Yeah, it's not even grifting really, because there's a market for a certain type of content, a certain type of experience that people want or enjoy having, and they're willing to pay for it. So it's a legitimate delivering a product or a service that there's a demand for some reason. So I don't even consider it a grift.
You know, that's a strange word. I thought that was a Minecraft word. You know where that grift came from?
Well, there's the movie The Grifters that was based on that what is it? Jim something novel.
What was that's? I did not know that. I actually
Yeah,
have
they
not
made a
heard
movie of it with John Cusack, Annette Bening, and Angelica Houston. It's excellent. And I thought that it came from that novel. Let's see.
that guy made some
Jim
interesting
Thompson.
movies. Ones that made you think. John Cusack. He also made some goofy movies. I used to not I wasn't a fan of that actor for a while, but I'll admit he's put his time in. You know what I mean? He's a legit actor. He deserves all the praise he gets.
Carnival and circus slang. Looks like it came from the carny world. One who
Really?
cheats, one who practices. Oh wait, hang on. 1906 U.S. underworld slang, perhaps corruption of graft. They're not really sure where it comes from, but I think
Well,
that Jim Thompson novel is what popularized it as a term.
Chuck's, you. It's. I'm sorry, Jeff.
Oh, Chuck! Oh my God. Thank you. I Chuck was my very first supporter, donator when I did the Ko-fi link. And so Chuck was my very first person that ever donated anything to this channel, and now he's doing his very first super chat. And Chuck was one of the first people that I think started coming on the show regularly. And he had an autistic son, and we talked about his son and his autism, and he was such an awesome autism dad, and I really appreciate Chuck, and thank you very, very much.
Shout out to
I know
Chuck,
Chuck was
Tennessee.
here he's been here for the long haul. He watched this journey, so thank you, Chuck. We're finally here.
When do you think Chuck subscribed? You remember? Was it in the low tens, teens, 20s,
Probably.
hundreds?
Yeah. Yeah, Chuck was probably around when it was in the 10s or 20s.
I think I was around 300 to 400.
I'm I'm not good at this money stuff. I'm not used to this, and I'm touched. It has me emotional. It has me sentimental. Oh, really? I thought you were earlier. I mean, I'm not even good with compliments. I'm really not. And these are like supercharged compliments that you can't downplay or pretend like you don't notice or just gonna like let roll off.
That's a great
They
way to look at
force you
super
to
chats.
face all the delusions that people have about you.
Congratulations, brother.
Thank you. I'm gonna I think Saturday I think I'm gonna try to do my 12-hour stream, and I'm gonna do at least a basic membership tier for people that want to show support. It's like a $2 type of thing. And then I think I'll have another tier for like hardcore supporters that want to really be involved in the community and help drive the direction of it. And
Well,
probably a dance party, yes. After 12
if you
hours, I'm
could,
sure we're going to have to break it up with something. The problem is, and I think, I hope Moose will be around by then, but the problem is finding non copyrighted music that we can spend for several hours.
as a donator myself, I tend to donate sometimes. One tip is I get a lot of reward from the 99 cent membership because when I get to donate to the channel, I also get to donate to people, and it's the most for my money. And I notice channels that do that are rewarded well, just because it's a good feeling to give out to others, and it's easy to afford a lot like that.
So you're saying like having a 99-cent tier is a good idea as opposed to a 2 or
You can
3 buck tier.
you
And then
can
I could
have a
always do a higher tier.
You can have a $2 tier. You still can have a 99. So you can have all those tiers.
But at least you're saying don't go make my lowest tier 99. Don't make it like 2.99 or 1.99.
I recommend from a
Okay.
donator's point of view. I would appreciate it. I don't know if other people do, but I know that sometimes Steve. I don't know why Steve doesn't come around here.
Which one's
He's great.
Steve?
It's the HFMIC. I think head mother. Yeah,
Oh, I
head
think
mofo in charge.
I've seen him in the comments once or twice. Yeah, I know who you talk about. I see him on a few other panels, but I don't know him that well.
He was looking for places to have good conversations.
We'll send him here.
So
Steve, come
and I
here.
remember I
Come and
remember
talk here one day if you want.
I just remember people having fun, seeing their, just the whole membership thing and getting that experience and being,
I want people to feel a part, so because it gives you a different color on your name. It puts a little badge next to your name, so you get like some little thing that when you're here on the stream, you can see who's part of the community and who's other members, and I want it to have that community feel that people can opt into, but I don't want it to be a barrier. I want as many people that want to opt in as possible, but I don't want to make it so low that any troll can opt
trolls
in
won't do
too.
that.
They won't even pay 90. Is there a price? Like I could see a troll paying 99 cent to fuck with a community, but is there a price where they like if it's $3, then they won't bother paying?
Well,
Is there
I
like a
could
troll cutoff price?
maybe a troll could come up and explain how trolls work, but from my perspective, a troll would super chat you a comment. It wouldn't give somebody a membership as a because it's unexpected. You don't get to
So they
choose
can
who.
do more trolling with the super chat than wasting their money on a 99
Because
cent
it's
membership.
it's a direct comment to you. It's highlight.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be highlighted, but it's a direct comment that's highlighted in the YouTube chat.
I also want to I want my audience to help me here too. So I want their guidance as far as perks and price and stuff because I want to make sure I'm offering things that are actually valuable to the community. And so kind of community if you want to comment on the video later or something like what are your thoughts on 99 versus 199 or
So
299 as far as basic membership price
this is your chance to interact with your community, and you can put a poll in your YouTube chat.
on the community
No, in
thing?
your
Okay.
YouTube live
Oh,
YouTube
right
chat,
here.
you can create polls, Jeff.
Okay.
Create a poll and get votes.
Well, there's
Ask
only
your.
6 people here right now. I wonder if I
That's a
should
great
save it for
start.
others. All right.
See what the 6 people are willing to pay for your channel right there.
All right, let
I don't
me.
know. It's up to you. I don't want to run your channel, but I noticed that people. I personally don't like polls, just because it kind of interacts. It kind of goes funky in my chat screen. I have to dismiss it, or it ends up hiding people's chats. It gets into
What's
this.
this Q&A? Start a Q&A.
That's it, pretty much.
Wait, hang on. How how much should I price? All right, this is me just trying out this Q&A feature. I don't know what it's going to do, and I'm also going to do a poll.
That's the whole. Yes, perfect.
Oh, I see. It just puts it at the top. And then what? They type in the comments or they answer?
This is a learning experience for me too.
I think can I do a poll at the same time? Let me see. Start a poll. All right. Create a poll. Ask a question. Add option.
The one thing I've noticed also too is the membership dono train. You ever see that happen? It's like, oh, one person gives one membership, another person gives 5 memberships, another person gives 1 membership, and it just starts rolling in like that. That's kind of cool to see too.
Sorry, I messed up the poll. I have to.
This is great practice, Jeff. So you don't have a big community, 25, 30, 40, 100 people in here, and you're messing up polls and questions. It becomes second nature.
Why is it not letting me add? It only lets me have 2 options.
If you get to delete one, you know, so you're not stacking the chat with too much stuff.
It has yes, no, and then it has 2 option slots. But how do I get rid of this yes, no? I don't need yes, no. Oh, I see. You type over the yes, no. All right, I'm setting up the poll now.
Look at him breaking this thing down. Yes. You're a real YouTuber, brother. Look at you. Shout out to Plasma Boyd. Thank you for joining.
Oh, hey, Plasma.
Are you gonna be able to join the chat today? The show, the panel. You're in the chat. My bad. Chuck, are you making time for us today?
I don't know if I worded this right, but there's my practice poll.
I'm pretty sure we're coming up on that 50 minutes pretty soon, dude. We're doing pretty good.
Oh yeah. In fact, let me check in with them and see where they're at.
Be careful.
You're in the shadows of the chat. Okay.
You don't want to go in the black zone. Black is the new color right now. It's
the depression, poor mental health, and criminality zone. And also the Satanist zone. Oh, I can't believe it still blows my mind to this day that people do that. They actually they want to know what the conversation was up to the point that they joined in. And so they go back and catch it, which is an intelligent thing to do. I'm just fascinated that people actually do it. Yeah, I had never talked one-on-one with Laura Chick before. I'd been on a few other panels. She hangs out on Barney's panel. So it was cool to talk to her face to face. And we're both, sounds like similar generations and similar like ways of thinking about things. So yeah, I'm glad she came up. Oh, and then the other thing about polls is you can only view them on YouTube, so they don't work through StreamYard. All right, I'm taking this Q&A thing off because I don't even know how it works. Yeah, it's looking like so far you're right, the 99-cent tier. And then I could do a higher tier with like an extra level of engagement.
great idea, dude. Great idea. I was thinking of you being like 28 flavors of Baskin Robbins. I get like 28 tiers, bro.
Oh, I think you only do 6.
The $28.
Oh, are you talking about the one on my show? The yeah, I don't know if you watch me and TML enough. We have this pattern where we have these little. Hank and I do this too. We'll get in these little spurg moments where we start talking past each other and we get real heated about stuff that's not even a fight. Machine and I do that all the time. And I knew today when it happened. I'm like, I am not worried about machine because I know our pattern so well, and I have so much trust in it that in about 5 or 10 minutes, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be right back to our normal relationship because I respect machine. I think he respects me. I think we have some admiration and respect for each other.
See,
And
this is
so I knew when it happened on my show, I knew I didn't have to worry about it because I knew that me and machine were going to reset 5 or 10 minutes after it's over because that's our pattern. And we're fine.
this is where it confuses me about Chuck's chart and categories. Is right there that you become an analyzer. You took in the moment and you're reflecting on something. So in that moment, you're not an accommodator, you're an analyzer. You're analyzing the situation, right? But Chuck's
That
chart is really flexible, or really like you could eat all kinds of different things in in one panel. It seems like.
well, that's what's throwing me because it applies to your negotiation style specifically. So I'm trying to think. I don't know. I don't really see Chuck engage in a lot of negotiating. So I'd have to see him actually negotiate with somebody for something specific to try to get a sense of his style. I think from what I've seen of Chuck, if I had to guess, he's more on my side. He's more of an accommodator, like more on focus on the relationships and the people and keeping that intact during the negotiation.
I admit I forget to add the negotiations part to Chuck's categories, but still, how does an analyzer negotiate? It doesn't seem very well. I wouldn't want to use an analyzer for negotiator.
They'd probably like study the situation and they treat it as like a problem to be solved. They'd analyze it for certain information that they needed, and they'd make a real tactical decision
Logical
on what.
decision.
And I would more like focus on building a connection with the person. Like,
Thank you.
forget about what I actually want from Philip. Let me just get to know Philip. Let me hang out with Philip. Let me enjoy spending time with Philip. We can do fun activities, and then negotiators would get worked into all of that. But the larger goal would be the relationship and the person, and the negotiation would just be a part of that experience. And like, I guess an analyst would be real tactical. Like, what do I want here? How do I get it? Let me analyze the situation. I need to take this, and this step. And then the assertives are the people that just kind of push their way through, like the bullies, the intimidators, the people that are just real aggressive and assertive. So people just give them their way because it's just not worth fighting.
Did you end your poll?
No. In fact, I forgot all about the poll. So let's. Yeah, I think so, Chuck. That's been my experience of you two. End poll. I might as well end it. There's
I don't know. It seems like Chuck, the instigator part, his superpower, sometimes seems like he pushes himself on the others. I'm not saying he does. I'm just saying that someone could perceive it that way or understand it in that way because it's just how they understand situations and circumstances differently. It's like it's so strange how you could say something and then someone would repeat it back to you. And you're like, bro, how'd you perceive it that way?
no. It was all the time out here.
Like for
How did you get
example,
that out of what I said?
gosh, is this even content? Like for example, I had a construction task for my coworker the other day. Right, we have yard drains that have caps on them. They're kind of like screens to help prevent debris from going into the storm drain system. Right,
Oh yeah.
and our city inspector is like, we want more protection to prevent sediment from going into our storm drains. So I was like, all right, dude. He's like, this is what I want. I want a 2 foot, 24-inch by 24-inch square placed on top of the storm drain filter, with the cap, strainer, and then gravel bags. Hold that down so it doesn't fly away, so it has something to retain it, right? I told him that's what you need to do. And an hour later, I come back and he's digging a hole at the storm drain to put the filter around, like cut a hole around the storm drain and put the filter there and then put gravel around there and then put the cap back. And I was like, I don't know how you got that out of what I described.
What did
I'm
he
sorry
say?
that you made your job way more difficult than I described it. Like now you got a shovel, like you're cutting this intricate little tiny 3-inch hole. you're cutting gravel bags. Like, sorry, brother. I feel bad. Like I must have said something like I did not like. Does my brain not say what my mouth projects? Like I don't get it. Like, well, how
Was
did
he
he get?
new to the job, to the work?
He just perceives things differently.
Oh.
So that's all. And it's just weird how you could say something and someone repeat it back to you, and it's like, are you in the same room?
There's a whole there's a board game that I have that I really like called Tech, and you're cavemen and you play in pairs. So like you and I would be a pair, and when it's our turn, I have this picture of this structure. There's these blocks and stuff that you build with, and I have to communicate the picture to you so you could build the structure, but you could only use this symbol of grunts and gestures that the game. So you could only use certain sounds and gestures, and so the whole game is you like, "Rah, ooh, 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 ooh," and using that to try to get you to understand it to build this structure, and it breaks down like human communication and how difficult it is when you don't have like you don't share a common vocabulary and you have to work off of this very basic language to communicate. And the partners that can figure it out quickly enough and get their communication system down are the ones that are going to win the game.
That sounds. I don't know. That sounds like something.
And it has a little rubber inflatable bat. And when they get your communication wrong, you bop them over the head with the bat to show them that no, they're not interpreting you right. I forgot about that part.
It sounds like good content. It does. Like
We
great.
should play. Yes, it would
I don't know
be.
how you. Like I was just thinking.
We'd
How do you
all
play
have
board
to
games?
have the game, and then we could
Right.
play. You'd have the blocks on your end, but we couldn't hit each other with the bat. That's the fun part.
You could. You gotta pretend. Like think on the screen, like the
Like put them on the
box.
side, and then
Yeah, hit him with the box.
yeah, and then maybe they could take the bat on their end and bop themselves on the head.
Chuck.
It could work.
And shout out to Jess. Welcome.
Yeah. Hey, Jess, what's up?
So, what do you think? So the friends in the chat, what do you think they are? Do you think they're outliers or the exiles? What is Chuck? Is Chuck an outlier or exile? Dun dun dun.
I think most of the panelverse in general, at least this sector, are exiles from general society. And then I think this is the exiles from that group, because that group of exiles forms a stable mainstream community. And then we're the exiles that don't fit into that. So the outliers are the people that just don't fit in the normal standard settings. And then the exile is the place that they hang out because they don't fit. So the outlier is the identity of the person, and the exile is the location that they end up in from not fitting in with all these other groups because of the identity of being an outlier.
You ever hear that joke, the lone wolf pack? You can't have a lone wolf pack, but you can have a whole bunch of wolves that aren't, like that don't get along, hang out together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what when I first started this, my very first episode I did on my first podcast was how to build a community of autonomous self-determining individuals. It's not the same as building a community of collectivist or it's a community because you can't use rule. It's a community where everybody can be themselves. They don't have to change who they are to be part of it. So they're not fitting into an existing structure. And they get to self-determine. So the community can't be one that tells them how they have to be. But they still had a need to come together with people similar to themselves that also had those values. So how do you fit those particular values into something like a community, which is traditionally built on the ideas of cooperation and kind of group decision making? And so it was a challenge to figure out, because lone wolves need community. We just need a certain type of community that's different from the normal types of community that people think of when they think of community. So when the lone wolf goes into a conventional community, they don't always get their community needs met, and they can sometimes disrupt that community. It will, Chuck. It has and it will. I've created them before, and we do it on here, kind of. I think the people that come here are pretty self-determining as long as they don't get on my nerves. And then it's just a different type of community building. You have to know how to build around that autonomy and around a lot of individual differences.
I think you like challenges.
I I do. I operate at a certain level of I need a certain level of challenge to feel like I'm to have meaning, to feel like I'm actually doing or accomplishing something. If it's not challenging enough, that I just coast and I don't feel like I'm really doing anything. And I don't feel like I'm growing or advancing.
Hmm. Hmm. You know, that's fun. Um, is growing and advancing as a person. I wish I could do that more into books. I just haven't really found something that's new to read.
Would interest
Everything
you?
seems
Because
like a repetition of something else.
it kind of is, but if you're interested in, there's certain things that if they're interesting enough, I don't mind multiple repetitions about that same thing. Like hearing different perspectives on the same thing. But what, because you talked earlier how you went from your feral state to what we see now. And so that seems like an amazing amount of personal growth already.
That wasn't done from reading. That was done from observation.
Oh, so you want like particular growth that comes from reading, like intellectual growth? Or?
Like for example, the only thing I can think of for reading that I would do like actually grow it would be an encyclopedia and a dictionary. One, to learn words that would grow my vocabulary, and two, an encyclopedia I can learn about the world without actually traveling.
Yeah, you could grow your general knowledge that way.
Correct. Everything else is opinion based about certain topics, or just more facts.
Are there specific things that interest you? Like, what do you like to read about when you read?
Right now, no, because I'm just more interested in trying to find a companion.
Like a
So
dating companion?
more than that, I would think. Hope than that.
Like a life
Because
companion?
yeah, because I'm 38. I don't need a dating companion at 38.
Well, that's what I meant. Like a life of.
So and if that's what it happens to be, then that's what it happens to be. But I would want more than that personally. I would hope
Are
people would want more than that.
are you on the apps?
No, no. I think in the future, I'll be like I said with the traveling and everything. I'll be able to meet new people. With
Yeah.
potentially maybe opening up a panel verse, meet new people, and travel more. So with all that in time, it should with that math, running into more people, I should be able to meet
Yeah.
a lot of women.
I think putting yourself out here on the panelverse like you're doing and letting people see who you are, and then doing the in-person thing, like you're. This is kind of a profile, so you have this profile that people can see you and get to know you, and then they can interact with you in person as you go about your travels. So you're creating several points of contact for that to happen, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yes, sir. There's a lot of possibility for the future right now with the way I'm going, with the trajectory, bro. Reaching for the stars.
That sounds kind of exciting.
It does. It does, and it confuses people. It confuses me too, because like someone said you should reach for the stars, right? And someone asked me at work, and he's like, it's like they can't take me seriously because I was like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, eventually I want to run the company. Like, like that's not a joke, bro. Can you imagine how nice it would be to take home 20, like seven? It was $17 million was the bonus for one of the guys who runs the company.
Do you want just the money, the status, and the money that come from the company, or do you actually have the desire to run a company?
All of it. It'd be so much fun to do that. To run the largest
So
company.
everybody wants to be the king. That's where the root of all of this. But people
Well, when
griping about the government and all that. It's everybody wants to be the
yes,
king instead of somebody else.
not necessarily be the king, but have some control of what my life could have been.
But the company is sounds like more than that.
Well,
It sounds like
you said you.
control over a lot of other things.
Well, it's just I don't know. It confuses me because the way I do math, if I had $17 million, I wouldn't need to work anymore. I could live off my interest off my accounts. So I don't get why someone who'd even want to come back to work at $17 million. What brings her back at work? You know what I mean?
Some people get meaning, and I don't think I'm ever going to stop doing some kind of work.
Wow.
Oh my God, not lies. Don't
Wow.
you you have to warn us before you do stuff like that. You are the last person I expected that I didn't know you felt that way at all. Thank you very, very much. I'm just I'm kidding with you, not lost. You know we have our little dynamic going. Yeah, I'm
Right.
touched, honestly. Wow. Because men, we do nothing but fight. We pretty much don't agree on anything, and all we do when we hear is fight. And so to see the person that you fight with the most contribute is, like I said, I keep being touched, and that's a weird feeling for me.
So this is what confuses me about a saying. Someone said it's the people who don't say anything or the people who don't care. It's the people who say something are the people who care. So if you got trolls saying something to you, that means they care somewhere. If you have people saying nice things to you, that's obvious that they care. But if trolls are doing it, there's a hidden care in there.
Like a hidden compliment,
I didn't say a compliment. There is a hidden emotion, and an emotion only comes from something you care about.
because it's not indifferent. There's plenty of trolls that don't come here that are completely indifferent to what I'm doing. So the ones that come here, it's because there's something that it's like a compliment. Like there's something about my channel that draws them to troll here and not
Trigger,
somewhere else.
which they love. They love being triggered. So
I guess, yeah, I guess you're right. There's something. That's why I wonder two things. I wonder about sadomasochism, and I wonder about like childhood abuse or family background. Like what causes people to consistently crave this negative form of pleasure?
from my perspective, and I could be 100% wrong, is I think it's a lack of attention. They need more attention in their life. They're not getting it from the surrounding recognition. It's not attention. It's recognition for their efforts. It's not attention. It's recognition. There's a difference. They are attention seeking, but they want recognition for their attention. They want recognition for
That
their hate, for
I
their
keep going back
actions.
to childhood. Like they're like an underdeveloped ego. They're still trying to get that ego developed from not getting the reinforcement or validation they needed. I mean, I think I have a little bit of that too. Hey, Shady Spot. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, because if we didn't get that growing up, we're gonna, especially if we needed it from certain types of people and we didn't get it, then we're gonna keep, it's like a nutrient that we need. We're gonna keep seeking it until we get it because that's what develops us to the next level.
And then it's portrayed to us that drama sells. WWE, the wrestling dramas, events, sitcoms on TV during the middays, all drama shows, soap
Hmm.
operas. Everything's a drama. So it really is sold to us that drama is the way to get attention. So I personally enjoy the trolls and want to know more about them. And it's funny because when you do, they stop trolling, and there's some of the biggest fans that you can get. They will show up every day for some reason.
Speaking of trolls, and I'm just kidding. Hey, freak. Um,
Oh,
yes, but here's where this is what confused me about some of the trolls. They're able to get this negative attention. They're really good at it. But some of them have the ability to get a different kind of attention that's more positive. But they still seem to prefer to do like get the negative attention anyway when they could be getting a totally different type of attention that I think would be more um, contribute more to their sense of well-being and being a positive force on society, etc. Like that, like they have the potential to have that, but they'd rather have the troll attention from negative. that they get from this negative attention seeking.
No, I
So the
completely
people that
understand that.
only have that and they don't have anything positive, they're stuck being trolls. That's all they got. But there's some trolls that have more, but they still seem to just prefer being trolls.
No, I completely see that. Yep, yep, yep. I see that. Good observation, dude.
You know what? But the quality is up. It's quality over quantity. Yeah, they win at some games in some circles. Some games I think are tilted toward trolls, but then some are not. And I'm trying to make mine one of them.
A freaking porn bomber thinks that's a win, dude. It's so strange, dude. They think that's a win. Like, what's a win to a troll?
Not Luz, I actually don't consider you a troll because I wish you were a troll. It would make more sense. I think you honestly believe everything you type in here. I don't think you're trolling at all. I think you're I feel like I gotta be nice because you just gave me money. This monetization thing is gonna. It's a double-edged sword.
Well, next, Chuck will be asking for a wrench. I bought my wrench.
He had a wrench, but I took all my wrenches away. But he did. He was one of my wrenches.
There must
I
have
got
been
rid of
some
all
good
the
decision
wrenches.
behind that.
Of wrench giving wrenches.
No, they'll take them away.
Yeah, well, with all the drama, I just wanted to take all my control back and figure out what direction I want to go in.
Yeah, yeah, it's,
So
yeah.
most of the people that had wrenches had them because they asked me for them for one reason or another. I never intended to go hand out wrenches because I can usually the little moderation that this channel requires I can usually handle on my own. So it was people saying, "Hey, can I post this link? Can you give me a wrench for this, that, or the other?" And it's people that I trusted, so I gave them wrenches.
Yeah, YouTube
But it
wouldn't be
wasn't like a
happy.
hand-picked team that I set out to moderate the channel.
YouTube's not happy about how I gave out wrenches. I gave them to everybody just to promote their channel. And I said, I don't need help moderating. I can moderate my chat. It's just you can just post links to stuff. So
Oh, so instead of you putting the link, they could post their own link to their own channel.
yeah, so
Okay.
the community grows together, which I always thought that was strange. That I always push community growth, right? And I'm like, well, how do I have this amount of subs and you guys don't have the same amount of subs? Where's this community at? But then I realized I was getting subs from my views that weren't even part of the live streams. So that's just a different community in general that's not participating. They just want to enjoy content. So those people can't do what we do. Understand the idea of a content creator and getting subs. They're just a viewer.
I am eventually I think I'm going to be looking for like one or two reliable wrenches to do kind of housekeeping tasks throughout the stream, like post certain links and do research and keep the room straight, do a little bit of moderation. So I'm going to have a need for that at some point where I could
You know,
see the potential for a wrench. But also with the community tiers, I mean the membership tiers, now there's an opportunity to have like cuz it colors your name and you could put little badges behind. So it's an opportunity to get a little more granular with the identities here besides just a wrench.
No, can you believe there's actually been debates, and I believe some channels are so large that some wrenches actually have a salary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and then there was actually one channel the wrenches wanted to protest and said that we're doing so much work that we should get paid.
Like unionized wrenches.
Yes, yes. It was a whole interesting thing about wrenches, wrench wars.
Oh, maybe there is a setting freak for people to post links. Um, yeah, I can freak. Do you mean that the person's paying to get the wrench, or they're being paid to be a wrench for somebody, like as a job role?
Most I've seen is $20. Someone paid $20 for a wrench. I've seen that
For a
before.
wrench.
Yeah.
Well, my wrenches are definitely not for sale. I would give them to people for specific purposes to help with the community. But depending on how I grow, eventually, I do foresee roles like paid roles for people. I mean, I'm a one man show right now, but at some point, I'm not going to be able to do it all.
I think other channels have a great suggestion of someone be able to promote their channel like through that you see that bottom running link for it says like on StreamYards is you can like I think it's Speakeasy or something like that. They can $20 you get your channel promoted for a week.
Flo did that. In fact,
Oh,
because I thought
okay.
about taking him up on it one day. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
Easy promotes it if you win verbal combat. That's one of
oh,
the
that's right. Thank you.
prizes.
Thank you. So there you go. I thought that was a pretty good idea.
Hmm.
Selling your airtime to somebody is a great idea.
Yeah, and when I was trying to grow my channel, I seriously, and then I thought, do I want Flo's audience? But then I also thought half my audience is Flo's audience anyway, so why does it even matter? And then he got demonetized. I ended up getting monetized, and he ended up losing his monetization. So that was that.
Um, that's honestly one of the reasons why I didn't really do streams because I didn't want to some of the communities blending together. I didn't like them. I didn't want them in my house. I
That's
don't
why
want
I'm
them
a
in my
little
backyard.
hesitant about this streaming coalition thing that they're where you send your audience to each other's channel. But
Well,
at the same time, I don't mind. Like you get a certain energy when you get rated, and all of a sudden your channel gets flooded with this new audience.
yeah, but the energy is different when it's expected.
So surprise raids are better.
Of course, the feeling is phenomenal because you're just sitting there and you're getting ready to end your show, and all of a sudden the 50 people show up.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's exactly what
You
happened.
can't time that experience.
Yeah,
That's an in a moment emotional experience that's positive. That's time that's priceless.
yeah, you're right. I think I do prefer the surprise raids.
So,
So keep
um,
me on the rating list, but surprise me.
mhm. Well, like I said, you have to sometimes back up and look at something at the positive and negatives. So if you could take a look, as like everybody's hyping up the positives, almost blinding what could happen in the outfall of creating a Panelverse community structured behind stream scheduling and all this. What are the potential negatives?
The
Someone getting all the
potential
super chat.
negatives is the drama and dysfunction. If it's
I
the
Yep.
can
wrong
imagine,
Yep.
audience.
like, hey, dude, how come your channel gets all the super chats? That could be potential
Oh,
drama.
like jealousy between. Well, yes, and that
Mm-hmm.
has been brought up. And the other thing that's been brought up is that it's a community of equal. Like we're all equal, but some person's gonna have the temptation to start trying to organize or pull rank or control the
Yep.
content of. What's up,
Seen
Chuck?
that happen. What's going on, fellas? Definitely seen that outcome happen quite a few times.
Hey,
So
Chuck.
there's pros and cons. There's benefits to it, but then there's pitfalls to watch out for at the same time.
Well, with the group that's wanting to invite you in, I don't see no huge benefit on your behalf.
Yeah. So you think it's they're getting more out of it than I am?
Well, I think it will be misused and abused. I could be wrong, but
Now,
I've
and
seen
it
I've
was
seen
presented
some
as
of
an
these.
experiment. Like this may not work, but it's an idea. Or do you want to try to run with it and see? So it was not. It's not guaranteed. Everybody involved is kind of this might work. This might not work.
Hey, thanks for
Well,
joining, Chuck.
yeah. I've my time has been limited. I hadn't been on many here lately,
Oh,
dealing with
everything
some
okay?
life. Yeah, just my oldest daughter getting out of a controlling toxic situation, which
Oh,
I had to intercede in. Yeah,
is she with you now, or is she okay?
yeah.
She's
Right now she is,
okay,
her and her daughter.
and they're not gonna mess with you, huh?
No, this old man don't play games.
Well, that's good. That's good that you could step in and be that.
They thought they would until I called 911. put an end to that real fast. I'm not in it for the games.
It's pretty amazing how people can push each other's boundaries, but then they lose perspective, and it's like, dude, if I called 911, one of you guys are going to jail right now. That's how out of control you are.
Well, no,
I'm sorry,
I
Chuck.
call them. I call them to keep from going to jail.
Right, right. I
Because
thought maybe you're.
used to I'd have swung first and asked questions later.
That's
I
that
thought,
protector instinct.
But now
yeah.
I'm play it smart. I'm too old to play games. Besides that,
I,
I wouldn't fare well in prison.
No,
right.
I can't. We got to keep you out.
One
I'm
time,
not look. Go ahead.
I did go to a cool off tank, a cool off cell. I was just a
Mm-hmm.
pissed off person. They're like, oh, we got to hold you here for a couple hours. They did try charging me with something, but when I showed up to the jail, they're like, dude, just send this guy home. And
This is in the U.S.?
yeah. I did something really dumb one day. I can get into the story, but I don't know if it's worth it because sometimes details aren't worth it. It's more about the experience. And I realized if I went to jail, I'd be one of the worst. You know how Post say story, like he was bouncing off the walls, throwing shit at everybody, like being
You
a
would be that
feral.
person.
Well, yeah, I'd be feral. I'd be feral. You're taking my freedom away for something that could be that's not you just it's a horrible concept. It's an interesting concept. Like, you didn't hurt
What
anybody.
did you do? Just in a
I think it's
nutshell,
better not to get into details. Either way, I'm not a felon. I'm not a
Well, you
criminal.
said
I
a
said
holding tank, so like they were
yeah.
just keeping you cool. Like, so was it alcohol or were you on a
No, it
substance?
was just road rage.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, road rage.
It was enough
And
that they had to take you in
not
and let you cool
understanding the
off.
law and not understanding the law. It was road rage plus not understanding the law. So that's the best way to do it because at a certain point, people shouldn't get into certain details.
Yeah, no, you don't have to go into detail. But
Yeah.
at some point, they determined that if they let you cool off, that you
No,
could have been charged with something, but it's just easier to just
well,
let you go.
no, they tried the people who arrested me, the officers who arrested me had to take me to a detaining center. And when they took me to the detaining center, they were like, "Well, it's not worth it." And they're like, "What?" They brought me back. Let me go.
Oh, the
So it's too
detaining
Wow.
center said that
it
it's
denied me. It's like
not okay.
it's not yeah, it's not worth it. I'm like, what? They're like, what? And then they called their boss. They're like, all right, bring him back. So
And
6 hours
so
later,
no
I
ticket or
was
anything,
no, I got a ticket. Yes, I got
oh,
my
okay,
vehicle impounded and a ticket
but not a
and stuff.
charge.
Uh, well, I got a charge, but it was a misdemeanor,
Oh,
not a
okay,
felon.
okay.
Yeah. It was. I should have got a felony. I should have gotten a felony. I should have been
So
in
the
jail.
system didn't work. It is broken. Our system is broken. You can't trust it. It doesn't work.
Yes, it is broken. If they had followed the rule to the T, I would not be here today.
Well,
And
without
someone else.
knowing the details, I'm personally
Yeah.
glad that they didn't follow the system.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. I thanked them after cooling off. I was like, I appreciate you guys being having more perspective and and having better, head on your shoulders at the time because I was a jerk.
Because cops they do have the power to make individual judgments, right? In the moment of
Yeah.
how
Yes,
far to
yes,
escalate a situation.
yeah. So I made their life difficult. A couple of them. It was valid. It was their decisions were valid. I was a jerk.
Would it have made a good episode of Cops?
No, it would have been a funny one, like the dumbest criminal ever kind of reward. It probably would have been a great story for the guy too when he goes home. He's like, "Bro, I just had the weirdest day." He's like, "I just had the weirdest day. I just want to go home." This guy, why? I got all this paperwork to do. If I can cause this mayhem. Why, bro? Why? Like, dude, I had a bad day at work. Girlfriend's pissing me off. You fucking broke the camel's back with that straw, dude. So No, but this is me not understanding the law and being naive, and I wish I had read more books. So I was under the idea that, in movies, how if you drive over a state, like a certain, like a county line, they can't chase you, right?
Wrong.
You
Right?
thought so? You thought if you
Not,
made it across certain line, the cops were
yeah,
gonna.
I was like, well, dude, you can't. Yeah, it's like I thought it was an off-duty cop. I thought it was an off-duty cop because he wasn't in the right area. So I thought it was an off-duty cop, and so I brake checked his ass
No,
for
boy.
tailgating me. Yeah, so I brake checked his ass for tailgating me. He didn't like that. Well, he claimed it as a brake check. I claimed it as changing lanes aggressively to avoid hitting a collision in traffic.
And this was after you crossed the state line.
No, it wasn't even a state line. It was just city to city, county line.
County
Because
line.
San Diego is so large, we have counties. It's so large that we have
That's
individual.
not ever how it works though. Like if a criminal can cross a certain finish line, then he gets away with the crime for free.
Oh, it does. Like for example, if you go from U.S. to Mexico,
Oh yeah, that border, but within the U.S., like people would be committing crimes all over the place around the borders, and then just crossing the border and saying nah 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 nah.
yeah, but they usually set it up. They would call the next place over and go, "Hey, this guy's coming into your town," so they would just set it up for you to get arrested over there. But I think it is they can't. They can't cross. They have to stop at
Because
the
of
border of your
jurisdiction.
state. Yeah,
But then couldn't they get extradited? Like still charged?
right. Right. But hey, I don't know. I'm naive to the law.
I don't know
Some
either.
lawyer can
We
come
had
up here,
lawyer
really
chick up
lawyer
here
chick,
earlier.
and explain
I
to me.
know. I lived
Where,
up there in Illinois, across the river from St. Louis, Missouri, and they had reciprocal that if they were in pursuit, they were allowed to continue the pursuit,
Hmm.
no,
even though
we
it
do
went
have
across the
those.
state.
So we do have something called I think like a state sheriff, where he doesn't really have a jurisdiction. He's allowed to
Go
enforce laws
anywhere.
everywhere. And
Yeah.
then I was told and informed and educated that anybody hired under the California as a law enforcement agent, doesn't matter where area it is, as long as you're in California, the borders of California, can enforce the laws of California. If it
Oh
comes to
boy.
safety, then it would be highway safety. So there you go. I was like, okay, well, thank you, because I said I made it a big deal. I'm glad it's over. I paid my dues, and I'm not a felon.
The
So
only time I've seen that happen out there in California is when there's like a stolen car. One city's chasing a stolen car and they'll quit. They'll radio ahead to the next municipality and let them know, hey, this car's coming. It's up to you whether you want to chase him or not, because we're done. I always found that weird that they're in pursuit and then they just stop.
It's a
that's that
jurisdiction
bureaucracy.
thing.
Yeah, that's the red tape of the government,
Yeah.
bro. It's so interesting. It's so interesting to see it in action like that.
But most of the time,
Uh,
they got a sheriff helicopter up in the air following the guy.
yeah.
And it's usually the sheriff that's doing the tailing from the helicopter.
You know what I found strange about YouTube is all the criminals on YouTube who haven't been arrested yet, but post
Oh my
criminals.
God, yes.
And all
That's
the
the
people who
strangest.
have.
Yeah, that's the strangest part about the internet. It's like, do they have like, if they wanted to,
a
could they
filter.
pursue that? Like, how would you like?
They
Would it
could,
be
they could
worth it?
probably use it in
They put
evidence.
it they put it on the user's back to notify law enforcement.
Do you have enough space in jail?
I mean, yeah, I follow what you're saying. It makes no sense.
How do you think politicians think? I don't think they think like us, guys. What do you think they sit down and talk about? Like, how would you talk about DEI in a boardroom with other
We've had
politicians?
politicians on here before. They think just like us, but then they think professionally when they're thinking about things like politics and laws and policy. And but outside of
Yeah,
that, they think they're all individual people. They think differently, just like we all do.
They think on the macro instead of the micro, I
Are you
think.
Yeah, probably on a. They have a bigger scale, like bigger bird's eye perspective. But just like anybody at the top, like the top of a company or upper management, so they have. I guess they have a perspective that we don't have, and so they probably think differently because. But that's true of any profession. Like doctors work from a different perspective
yeah,
than the
everybody.
layperson. Pilots work from engineers, etc. So they probably have this political way of thinking when they're applying it to political issues. But outside of that, I don't know if they think any differently. That's why people that are alienated from politicians, I see them as just people. They're just people like us. And that John F. Kennedy quote I read the other day about when a nation starts to fear its own people. And I wonder why Americans are so alienated from each other, scared of each other, why we're so strange to each other, why we don't trust each other if we're all sharing the same. We're under the same set of laws and values.
Yeah, I love the ones that say, "Oh, we hate the government, but we love the Constitution."
That's a tough one.
How, yeah, that's kind of a oxymoronic statement. You just can't pick and choose the pieces you want to apply out of the Constitution. You have to use the whole thing, which includes politicians, government.
Yeah.
What do they want a world without politicians? What would that look like? Like the AI would run the government?
No,
How would we get laws made?
they don't want laws.
How
They want mob rule.
well, good thing most sane normal people in society don't want that. Why would you want mob rule? We saw mob rule during 2020. Why would anybody want mob rule?
They think, for some reason, some of these think that that's a better, it feels better to them than the government doing it to a person, which makes no sense
So
in
it's
my book.
emotion. It's all emotion
Yeah,
based.
that's the way I look at it. Flow state's one of them.
There's a lot of. I think they just I think it's just envy. Like they want to be the ones calling the shots instead of somebody else.
Oh, like Talcott. I think that's what Talcott
Yeah,
wants.
it's like well, I don't know about Talcott specifically. I mean but it's ego. It's like the male drive to be the king of the hill. And when somebody else is on the hill and you're not,
Well,
He
you
doesn't
want to
want to
there's
be
be.
king of the hill, right? He wants to be just on the hill.
no. He
Who
wants to be king of the hill.
who does?
Propane.
Jack. Oh, Hank. I don't know about Hank. I get confused with
Hank is
Hank.
collecting data on all of us so that he can learn to control us on his path to world domination.
Mind control.
Yeah.
He can't
So,
even get 9 people on a panel to control themselves.
So I do
Hank, are you
wonder.
out there?
Yeah, Hank. I do. I have questions for you, Hank. Get up here. Questions. You've been requested. Hank. 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 Did it work?
Uh-oh, that's like Beetlejuice.
Yeah. So no, I do wonder now that that you said that. How many people keep track, keep a notebook, keep a post-it note about the Panelverse? I literally check
I
out
know
as soon as
one
this show's
person.
over. I'm not.
I keep mine in my brain. Cynthia keeps one.
Yep, yep.
Tommy is an autistic panel encyclopedia. Chuck's pretty good, just like noticing and remembering things. And who's the Hank keeps spreadsheets. And there's somebody else that was talking about the other day. Of was it OTW with the Panelverse game? I think there was somebody else though. So there are people that archive panel data.
Can we Can we check that out? Like, what is the benefits of archiving data?
I see it like any other medium. Like you have super fans of TV shows or books. Like they know those stories inside and out, and they know every little trivia detail and lore of it. And the Panoverse, I guess, for some people, draws that kind of interest. And
And
then
But I've
because
never
it's so immersive, it's interactive. It's not just one way. So the notes help you if you're going to interact the Panoverse with whatever your goals in the Panoverse are too. So there's a practical application for them as well.
the problem I have with taking notes is I end up taking the notes and then getting behind in a conversation and not being able to keep up on topic. And that's just I don't I know I tried it, I couldn't.
Zoom has the AI can take notes for you. They can do a summary. And if StreamYard or YouTube had some kind of AI, because YouTube can do the little AI summary things, but what some people do is they like take the transcript and feed it into an AI, and then the AI can turn it into notes from
oh
that stream.
Lord.
So when the AI gets a hold of the Panelverse, y'all are not going to believe the things it's going to notice about us.
So
I'm
what's
like Philip, I just can't get into it that deep to want to keep a running spreadsheet or notebook of everything. Wow.
It's a indication of interest, like the level of interest it's possible to have in this medium. So some of it could be elitism, but the fact that people are putting that much energy and effort into something like this is encouraging to me.
Well, I think some people are using it for ammunition
Oh yeah, there's
when
absolutely there's
when
that
they
too.
want to get even with somebody or call somebody out for something.
receipts? They have the
Mm-hmm.
receipts.
But these are the type of people that would be doing this in real life with all their friends too, keeping little
Oh boy,
tidbits of information and deploying it.
that's scary.
Yeah, there's people that do that. But I guess on the Panoverse it makes it easy because it's all recorded. You could clip, you can go back and rewatch and copy, get your notes right, and you don't have to capture everything in the moment, etc. So you can really take the time to study and find all the ins and outs and connections. But I don't think any one human brain. My channel alone has almost 500 videos with hours of content in each one. The human brain is not going to have time to go digest every corner of the Panoverse and make a complete set of notes, but the AI sure probably could.
That's
That's what it
true.
seems like. That people's notes are fragments of the panel verse, and could probably be written out of context, and it'd be hard to
Yeah, it's
keep
from
track of
there
everything.
because everyone has their own perspective, so their own little unique way of seeing things in their past experience, but they also have their own goals and agendas. So they whatever they're pulling out of the Panoverse is colored by who they are and their past experiences, but also what they're here for. So if they're here for content, they're going to take one type of notes. If they're here to like study people and learn, they're going to take another type of notes. So it could be tied to what their purpose for being here is. And you never really know with any one person, especially if they're a content creator themselves.
Yeah, or they just try to generate content.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is interesting that some people might have a hidden agenda behind the panel verse. That
It's
does seem
it's
interesting.
it's not even that hidden. It's content. It's money.
That's true. People aren't really hiding anything, aren't they?
This
They're
is a
being pretty
full-time
bold.
job
Yeah.
for some people. Like this is their work. This is you wake up, you go to work for 8 hours. It's this.
Or
And
they
so
want it to
finding the
be.
ways to
Yeah.
maximize and milk it for that money means getting the content and the numbers that accomplish that.
I hate to talk about negative, but do you guys hear why Flo got struck? I want to learn from that experience. I
He
hope I'm
he
not doing
made
it
a
in the future.
stream on it. And
Bullying.
Yeah, the actual charge was bullying, and it was some unlisted video. So it's not a video the public really had access to, and they don't tell you what specifically about the video.
Mm.
They just say it's this video and it's bullying, and then you have to figure it out.
Well, that was the first one. Then they went through the rest of his and gave him two more strikes.
Mm.
And then one of them I think got appealed, so he has two, and then
One
he's
one of them
demonetized. Which
one of them got overturned on appeal.
yeah,
The other two, so far, he's appealed them, but he failed.
right. And then he's trying to get the monetization back.
He's probably going to have to wait the 90 days for one of the strikes to disappear.
But as far as the actual details behind it, I don't know. I don't even know if he knows. He's not
I
sure
know
how it got struck. I don't think YouTube tells you.
one of the videos was the one where the girl was peeing on herself on a stream.
Like a panelist, or he was playing a
Yes,
clip.
yes, no, a panelist. She was
Wow,
pissing
and
down
he
her
left it
leg,
up.
and it his mistake.
Yeah, I guess so. But
Welcome back to YouTube, Flo. Welcome back.
yeah, Flo, welcome back to YouTube.
That one didn't do him any favors, that's for sure.
Well, Flo always lived on that edge, though, content wise. I do too. Like, I fully expect if they start combing my channel, I'm sure I'm gonna have some strikes coming up, just based on all the shit that's on over here the last year and a half.
Oh Lord, ain't that the truth?
So what happened to Flo, if it happened the way he said, and it was like YouTube just finding stuff on his channel, it could very well happen to me. I am not immune from it. And I
But
don't think someone should
usually
lose their channel
it
because of
it
what
takes
a panelist did.
it takes a triggering event to even start it, I think.
There's so much that YouTube doesn't tell us, like about the inner workings. We know the
Oh
policies that we
yeah.
agree to, but I don't know if stuff outside of that happens.
Well, you saw that the original CEO died of YouTube at
No.
56 or 59. That
Damn.
Susan was Wazowski, or what was her name? Wazinski.
Oh, that was before it. Susan. Yeah, I didn't know her. That was before Google bought it when it was its own thing, and then it became part of Google.
Google who?
Oh, did
Google's
you
in
guys?
bad trouble. Bad
Yeah,
Uh
trouble.
oh,
Chuck
what did they
updated.
do it?
Did you see, Jeff? Google's in trouble.
Big
What is it
time
doing?
trouble.
Let us know, Chuck. Get us the quick 2 minute tour.
Oh, is this the latest gossip?
It's big, dude.
Not gossip. They lost a lawsuit, and the government's going to bust them up. It looks like.
Oh,
For
I heard different news, but yeah, go.
what did you hear?
So I heard apparently Google is under investigation right now because they think Google is helping hide Harris's negative content and only pushing the positive content.
Where's that?
Oh,
I haven't
really?
heard that. Where's that coming from?
So there it was a headline today that Google is pushing positive content for Harris and bearing negative content.
The one I was reading was about them being a
They have
monopoly.
positive content on Harris.
Oh, are you serious, Jeff? Yeah, there's
I'm
always
wondering what they would be pushing. Like
well, stuff cut out of context.
Harris hoodwink. I'm still. Oh, Kamala. I found this headline. It's from the Hindustan Times. Kamala Harris campaign team editing headlines within Google search ads to suggest that major publishers are backing her. But I'm still not seeing anything
Here, I'll
about.
see if I can
I'm
find
I'm
it.
seeing something about the campaign itself editing headlines or being accused of, but not
I'll find
Google.
it. One of the big YouTubers did a bit thing on it.
Um, Telescope. I'm not sure. You can only do memberships once you cross 500. You can't even do them below 500. Do you mean like wait till it's more than 500? There's no point in doing it at 500. I just want to do it because I want to start practicing and experimenting and seeing what's possible with it because of the different tiers that I can do.
Yes, it's the same thing. I guess they're editing Google ads.
Yeah, something like that. But it's the campaign supposedly doing it
Yeah. So
to make their like so when people see the ads, it makes their campaign look better. It like slants it positive.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which that's politics, but is that legal? I don't know the campaign law. Are you allowed to do sneaky things like that, or does that cross a line? I'm not sure what the laws are.
I don't know,
But
but it
it's
seems
no sneakier than anything Trump's side would try to do if they could.
well, I think it opens the can of worms. So what else are they trying to
They're
could
both going to
they
play. I'm expecting both of them to play as dirty as possible. And I think whichever side steps over the line and fucks it up, the other one's going to win. So the game is to play as dirty as possible, but not be the one that gets caught being too dirty.
Well, I see that, but I'm trying to think beyond this game and to the next level. It's just saying that the government has access to Google Ads to manipulate a point of view,
No,
right?
it said the Harris campaign, not the government. The Harris
Well,
campaign was the one doing it.
but Harris is the government right now. She's the vice president of the United States.
But the campaign is separate from her. She's not doing it in her role as vice president. I don't even think it's her that's doing it. It's her campaign. Whoever
Oh,
she's paying to run her campaign.
okay.
But they're not the government. But the Twitter files alone showed what's like already what the potential of the government is. Like their reach into the tech companies.
Well, it's just a headline, a topic we could talk about, and I didn't do any
I put
research.
it.
It was,
I put the one I'm talking about. I put in back chat.
yeah. There's another
Has
one.
an
Yeah, they're
illegal
in trouble
monopoly
for.
on search. Judge rules. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know about this. Let me see.
This is a big one. This is going to hurt them.
Handing the tech. And you know, this is. I wonder if they're going to like try to tilt the election over this.
Mm-hmm. I think that was
Because if
part of the
Google
claim.
tries to tilt the election, that's a big player. The court reaches the following: Google is a monopolist, and it has acted as one to maintain its monopoly. But I thought they had other search engines.
They're not sharing their information like they're supposed to.
Right, it's not
Oh,
free.
because this is why. Because they spent all this money securing exclusive contracts to be the default search engine on smartphones and web browsers and all that. So when you
Uh-huh.
use other it's built in with Google as the default. And so they
Yep.
say that makes the monopoly. I'm not sure I agree, but the court has decided that um, be, because they're in this super powerful position with this ability to get their search engine on everything, that makes them a monopoly.
Hmm.
Google's exclusive deals with Apple and other key players in the mobile ecosystem were anti-competitive. Does that mean that I thought they were competitors though.
I
What
wouldn't think
what are
so.
the
I don't.
Google deals with Apple? Aren't they the two competitors?
Well, it would be that it'd be the Google Play.
Chrome.
You know,
I think Chrome, the Chrome link or Chrome extensions are part of Google.
so there.
But Apple's its own thing. It's the Apple Store, the iTunes Store, and the Safari brand. I thought they were a completely separate brand because you had Android, which is Google, and Apple, which is
you still
iTunes or Apple.
you still have the option to use Google on Apple.
Oh, this is what I need. Yeah, Plasma. This is what I was missing. So Google, even though it's Apple's competitor, is also yeah. I
Uh-huh.
can kind of see the monopoly now. Like because the two biggest players are Apple and Google, and Apple is using Google's product, in their offering. So Google has the search engine across both of them.
Oh, thanks for breaking it down, guys. Thank you.
But how did Apple agree to that? That's what I want to know.
The internet's
How did
young, dude.
Apple even let that happen? I guess they had the right negotiating style. Google did. Probably aggressive. Oh, yeah, freak. I do kind of remember that. So I guess these tech companies try what they can until somebody tells them no.
Well, you also imagine this. Hey, we are the default search for everybody in the world. We'll help push Apple phones instead of Samsung phones.
Mm-hmm.
We'll help push Apple products instead of Samsung products.
But Samsung
Or
product is Google products.
or it's like you said too, since they run the entire market, if you want to put up a positive spin on your news story that shows up on our browser, I could see that.
Either way, it's interesting. It's interesting that the our information is.
Throttled,
It's yeah. That's a great way of putting it. It's not.
controlled.
Yeah.
So hang on then. And Plasma, any chance you want to come up and talk about this? Um, hang on. So you're saying I use DuckGo to begin with, but you're saying because Google's everywhere, and when people search for information, they're gonna get the Google version of the search results that Google puts for
Gives
them.
them.
But they still
Yep.
have the option if they want to use some other search engine.
That's only if they're educated that there's another search engine right now. Right
But is
now,
the
there's no
world
education.
responsible for people's lack of education, or is like if the
But
solution is they need to be educated, then we just need to educate, like do a
but does
advertising campaign making people aware that they have other
but
options than
does
Google.
does people like DuckDuckGo, do they have to ultimately go to Google to get any results?
That I don't know, but I do know that sometimes I have to switch to Google search because I'm not getting the results I want from Duck, and Google gives me a different set than Duck. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if they're organizing them differently or drawing off of different.
They're not allowing the other browsers to access the information, is what I think is happening.
But does
Therefore,
Google? So the theory is that if there's information Google doesn't want you to know, they would hide it in the searches. So, but is that happening? Is information not? What are we not knowing because Google's putting it lower in the searches? Like, if is that the only issue? Am I
it should
missing?
be in that article. I thought, if that's the same one I read this morning, it gave a pretty good breakdown. The one this morning
Oh, and it says it's the second high-profile antitrust defeat for Google.
Oh, you know
After a
what it
federal
is?
jury in California said they run an illegal monopoly with its proprietary app store. Oh.
Right now, it sounds like Google would be putting Apple in a bind because they are the number one search engine, and it's like, well, Apple, your product would be inferior if you didn't use my search engine, my default as a default.
And get this, Apple and Amazon have suits coming headed their way too around antitrust.
Oh,
So people are going after. I know the freak mentioned Microsoft earlier. So see, our system's working. It's designed to not allow these companies to grow to a dangerous level, and it's working.
but it's happening after the fact. They're not heading it off before it happens, like they should be.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know how you head off a monopoly until it actually becomes a monopoly, and then the laws kick in and it breaks it up. It trust bust or whatever it does. But I don't know how you prevent because it's allowed to get up to the line, but it's when it crosses the line. So I don't know how you stop it
and this is a
how,
whole new
before
field.
it actually crosses the line.
Yeah, this is a whole new field. No one really understands the laws of the internet right now, and how who owns it.
Probably what
Oh,
Dur
that's the
says. They're gonna find a way to still be the same thing, just
Yeah,
like
can
they
you
want to
imagine?
break up TikTok.
Yeah, can you imagine if Elon Musk owned both Apple and Google, and he's just suing himself? Because it's the proper thing to do.
What's at stake in the Google antitrust case? Billions of dollars and the way we use the internet.
Mm.
Let me look through this one.
Right, it's like everything's owned by BlackRock. So it's like, what's going on here, guys?
So this
It's
is
just a
kind of
show.
a taste of the future everybody is fearing. Let's see.
Well,
Whenever
yeah,
you type
it,
a search into Apple Safari browser, chances are it's Google that returns the results. You can tell Safari to pick another engine, but in practice most people stick with the Google default, but that's not Google's. Like if people have the power to change and they choose not to, you might know that Google pays Apple enormous sums of money every year for that Prime placement, which you might not know
yes,
is just how much. More than 1 billion a month. Okay, Google is giving Apple every month $1 billion.
yep, to push their product. And that's just one. That's just one company.
And as much as 20 billion total in 2022. So that's the monthly billions, but there's other billions going there over and above this 1 billion.
Uh-huh.
Just for the privilege of being the primary search engine. Wha- I'm not a numbers guy and I'm not a money guy, but this seems big. I don't know how this level of money is even in existence.
Did you guys hear
Those
the back?
eye-popping figures, they described it right because that's exactly what my eyes are doing right now. Come from a blockbuster antitrust lawsuit that's just entering its closing stages. Um, this is Biden's Justice Department, by the way. I want to let y'all know. Closing arguments in the case will continue. Okay, the effect serving as a bellwether not just for the billions Google pays to Apple, wireless carriers, and other device makers, but for a veritable pipeline of tech antitrust cases moving through the courts. So you think they're not going to be concerned about this upcoming election? Let's see.
Don't worry, Trump will pardon Google.
Damn, it looks like Microsoft even testified against Google.
Well,
Google
Microsoft
is
got in
trying to
trouble.
turn the search data advantage into an artificial intelligence advantage because Google was able to suck up all this data from everybody by what they were searching for. They now have all this data to feed into the AI, so that gives them the AI advantage as well.
Yep, yep.
And Google, hey, listen to the argument Google's making, because it's the same one I made. Google has argued that consumers can choose its search engine, but they choose Google because they say because it's the best. But Google's argument is that as long as consumers can choose to change engines, can't even talk. Um, then how is that their fault?
Okay, think about it. StreamYard. In order for StreamYard to work on an Apple device, they have to use a Chrome extension. Who owns Chrome? Google.
Oh, so yeah, so like their fingers are everywhere,
Uh-huh.
and
And probably beyond what we can think, dude. It's probably
but
a lot
I
deeper.
guess I'm questioning how much Google alone affects what I'm aware of. They're not my sole. They're not my sole source or gatekeeping for
That,
my
but
information.
that's where all the others are getting their info from.
But how different is Google from DuckDuckGo? Like that's what I'm saying. What information specifically is Google trying to keep that we could get if we used a non-Google product? It seemed like it would be negligible. Like there's not this super secret information that Google's trying to hide because it wouldn't be hard to find it with some other product. So what really could they be trying to suppress
But could
that
Google
somebody couldn't
own,
get somewhere else?
but does Google own the access rights to that information?
I don't know because I don't even know what information we're talking. Okay, let's see. Plasma. Plasma is really helpful tonight. It is not always specific, but also how you see that. See that takes it into that level of super subtle vibes and influence, and that stuff's invisible to me. I don't base my life on that stuff that might move the needle one little micrometer of whatever we're measuring, because it's so invisible. You can't quantify or calculate the subtle influence that Google might have by how it arranges the information it feeds you.
Well, think about the example that Philip talked about with the election thing. Election ads, is that what it was, Philip?
I
Yeah,
guess
the campaign changing the headlines. Yeah, Freak said they've been going on for a decade now, which
Dang.
makes sense because I know that they take a while to resolve.
like how would a lawsuit like this even start? Was someone just mad he had to use Google instead of another browser?
People
Like,
probably noticing that. Well, Google, why are you the search engine for all these products? This doesn't seem. This seems like a monopoly. Plus, the tech companies wanting to take each other down. Yeah, like I need a specific, like, what's a specific piece of information that Google could manipulate to make people feel the way they want them to feel about. That's what advertising is anyway. But what's something Google could do with a search engine to change how people feel about something? Because all
well,
it does is deliver results, right? It doesn't
well,
even write the headlines. It actually started with.
it could influence sales. Like for example,
I'm
two
just I'm
products come
just
out.
curious how. Like I would want a concrete
Well,
example of
yeah, yeah.
how.
So the two products come out and it pushes the other product because it has a better the algorithm reads the product's details better.
So they could use search engine more like advertising and manipulate and slant how it's presented to try to tilt you a certain way. But like can DuckDuckGo do that as well? Like could any search engine do it? Use search
Not
results
as
as in the
good.
same way that advertising's used?
Not as good.
So Google
Has
has an
better
advantage when it comes
algorithm.
to that.
It has a much better algorithm, dude. It's phenomenal compared to the other ones. For some reason, I don't know why.
So if it's all algorithm driven, then how much control does Google, like how much ability does Google have to influence it anyway? If it's just the algorithm,
It's
it
their
has the
algorithm.
best out, it has the better algorithm because it has the most reach and data. And so
And
if whatever search results it's giving, it's not like humans saying tee hee hee, let's give them this. It's the algorithm generating the whatever impression organically emerges from the algorithm.
yeah, but the algorithm is created by a computer tech owned by Google. It's not just out of thin air. He has to create the algorithm. It's not something that's
But is he
made up.
creating it intentionally to?
That's what they're exactly. You can create an algorithm to intentionally search for keywords to highlight certain things to pop up.
But I didn't see that in the article. So like one single dude could create like a woke algorithm that only shows people woke stuff, but then some other search engine not created by that dude would show different results, and people would say, "Oh, look, why am I getting all these woke results from Google? Oh, it was this one guy that created the algorithm."
Right. And what they're saying is that we don't know about these other options to search because Google is the default. I
That's
didn't know
just
that
people being lazy and not educated or not like
90%, no,
putting effort into like I don't think the state's responsible for compensating for people's shortcut. I think people should be left to suffer the consequences of their own limitations. It's not for us to come in and compensate for people's laziness or stupidity.
well,
And people,
this is
the same people make that argument in things like welfare and the social service system and stuff like that. So if you're going to make it there, you have to be consistent with it.
I think companies should be held accountable for making a product that isn't healthy, right?
But what I'm still trying to see what's not healthy about. So far it's the potential for abuse, but I'm not seeing any actual abuse that's happened from this algorithm. It still delivers search results. None of them seem. I'm not seeing
Well,
any information to me that's glaringly being left out or suppressed by Google. So I'm not. I don't know what the actual danger is.
well,
Like
I personally aren't debating. I'm not debating the article because I haven't read the article or the lawsuit. I'm debating or just talking about the concept of Google and the potentials it could have.
I
Uh,
honestly don't. Right, but that's what all this seems to be like the potential. If an evil scientist or psychopathic madman gets a hold of it, it could be used for this. But
well,
right now, the current system seems to be keeping the abuses in check, and it's more or less used for the purpose that we've all been using it for up to this point. So it seems like an imaginary fear, like a lot
it
of things in this age. For
But
people have
by
these.
having all these independent or separate contracts with these other companies, the other search engines cannot use that data.
and that's where it might be the problem is the binding of the contracts. I'm
Right.
listening different. Like for example, like this is a great example because Google did suppress during C19 the alternate information, and that was a bad time of misinformation, and that
Yes, it
did
was.
happen. And Google was a part of that algorithm design and worked with. It's been confirmed with the
But
government.
if it's an algorithm suppressing, then it can't like target and intentionally suppress
It
like a
did,
human could. And in the Twitter files, they had all these like humans that were contacting people at Twitter and saying this is a problem, and they were having meetings about what to do about this narrative that's being put out. So that was disturbing to me. An algorithm to me that's just running and
algorithm isn't it's made by people. There's
right, but
intention.
once
There's
you once
intention
you
behind
set
the
it
algorithm.
working, doesn't it just work off of whatever data? It's not like a person sitting there controlling the algorithm all day long.
That's what it's.
You
That's what
you
it's
tell it
doing,
what to
Jeff.
look for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what that's its job is to process that. Instead of a human being doing
That's
that,
why
the
I want
algorithm would
someone
do that.
like Plasma or maybe Lou or somebody to come up and give me a very concrete example of how if you were making a science fiction movie about the danger of the scary Google Monopoly AI thing algorithm, what is the concrete plot line of the example that you would use to illustrate the danger and why we should be scared and worried about this algorithm and how somebody could use it for evil or manipulate. That's what my autistic brain needs to
It's
understand
the
what everyone's trying to
most
tell me right now.
the most simple way is government propaganda. I just
Okay,
told
but
you,
what's
C19.
it? That's just fear of the government. But where has that actually
C19.
happened? Like, where has the government
C19.
abused the algorithm? And we're talking about Google, not the government. So are you
So
worried the government is going to use Google to
so
do something scary to us? It's
I
people.
can't continue this conversation. I've already explained it was several times, and it's
It
so
it
I can't
seemed to be
continue.
all about Google, and then suddenly it's fear of what the government might do, and that confused me right there. I just need a doomsday scenario so I can understand what the concern of this algorithm is because to me the algorithm's just delivering search results so far. There's no evil genius doing anything sinister with it.
Well,
But
either
we
way,
also don't have to continue because I am getting a message right now from Frank that they're ready for another episode.
yeah, that was perfect. I appreciate you guys sharing my conversations, entertaining my questions. It looks like everybody's healthy. I'm really glad. So keep it up, Jeff. You're doing great, brother.
I
Hey.
appreciate you bringing your
All right,
questions
Philip.
and having these conversations. So
You're
you
welcome,
keep it up
guys.
too. I'm
Welcome,
serious.
brothers. Peace.
Right. Take
Bye.
care. Thanks. Chuck, you
All
got
right.
anything to...
So if you're gonna run off to movie land, we will talk at you later, sir.
Yeah, I'm thinking, unless I have insomnia somehow, I probably won't be out tonight, but I'll definitely be around in the morning sometime. So I hope
Alrighty.
things get better on your end too, and settle in a good way. And it sounds like you're being a good dad, so keep
I'm
that up.
trying. I'm trying. Nobody's perfect.
No, we're not, but like 90, 80, 70% good is better than not,
Yep.
even if we're not perfect.
Just try to do the next
It
right thing.
right, if we're as good and decent as we can be as often as we can be, that's better than I'll take that. Yeah,
Any
I'm
day.
coming back. So we're wrapping up.
All right. Well, I'll get off here so you can sign off then, sir.
All right, take care, Chuck. We'll
All right.
talk at you soon. All right. So yeah, if somebody tomorrow wants to have, because I'm interested in this algorithm thing, I just don't understand. I don't have a, I don't know enough about tech and how that works to understand what the concern is. But right now, is the fear that Google is secretly manipulating information in certain ways? Is that the fear that that is currently happening, or that that could be in the wrong hands, happen in the future, and that's why this will? Not always, freak. In fact, I'm not sure if I haven't checked the latest ratings, but I'm not sure if the women don't have a leg up now, a slight leg up on more female than male winners. So anyway, yeah, I'll get out of here. That was a very good. How far do we go? Almost 4 hours. That was yeah. That's what I'm worried about, Frank. That's what I'm trying to sort out. Is how tinfoil hatty I should get over this or not. But I do know that there's monopoly concerns about the tech companies. There have been for a while. It sounds like this is a lawsuit that came out of that very long process and concern. Oh. So by the time this is over, you're going to know everything about Survivor without ever having to even watch it. Because Plasma, the thing for me, other than the entertainment value, because there's a lot of drama, like just like you see on the Panelverse, but it's what I learn about people, like what I learn about group dynamics. I could study it in a way that is helpful. Like I can actually see the dynamics at play. All right, I'm going. I promise. Let me get the music set up, and we're off to Survivorland. Thanks again. Everybody, all of you, I mean it. Thank you and take care.